The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Toku Podcastu, the best show about tokusatsu you probably never heard of, and Tatakai. Anyways, so, as always, that's Jay.
Sotakai.
That's Phil. Jesus Christ, are you just deep-throating your microphone?
No, I'm doing ASMR right now. So
I was gonna say it sounds.
You're
like
the last person who used to do that.
That's why I'm doing it.
You see, Phil, you see, Jay, that's why editing is involved.
You know, there's probably at least one person who'll listen to that.
I would hate to meet them.
Yeah, me too.
And they're probably in our server.
Anyways, this is a special case today because, we should probably say what we're doing. Today we're doing Kamen Rider Ryuki, obviously, as you can read. Or maybe you can't read. For whatever reason, you cannot read the title of this podcast. So, very special case. So what we're going to do here is, and I think everyone will agree, we're going to review the show proper, episodes 1 through 50, no pee-pee-poo-poo bullshit, and then we'll do episode final. Is that agreeable?
Makes sense.
Does that make sense? Okay.
And no 13 Rider special. Basically, retelling of the entire show. Just adds a guy in green who is very underwhelming.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Or the book.
Anyways.
Or the other specials.
Oh, yeah, there's a book.
Or the Hyper Battle video. Or the comics. Or the manga.
Or Agito.
Or the Rider Time.
Or Agito versus Ryuki.
He literally just said that, Phil.
I just said the Hyper Battle video.
I didn't know
also,
that.
that new special, because we didn't watch it.
Well, I did.
Well, we might talk about the
still
book
doesn't
because
matter.
the book is wacky as hell, but that's another story.
Well, you might talk about the book.
That's true, because I'm probably the only one who
actually kind of want to read the book.
Phil, stop eating your mic.
All
I've read segments of the book, and it's exactly as insane as you think it is.
Can you send me a copy of it?
I mean,
isn't
this the same book? Isn't this the same book where Ouja just eats shit?
Yes,
literal shit.
That is the exact book. Yes.
It's also the same one where apparently Ren and Yui are now friends with benefits, and Shinji actually gets it with Fem. With Mio, he actually does.
Well,
Shinji it's a no. Thank you.
So.
Well, see, the thing with Inoue is every single fucking book he writes, it's always about fucking. I mean, shit, did you not read the Jetman one?
Like, Jetman proper was already about that. I don't need to read the Jetman book. I've seen Jetman.
Yeah, but the Jetman novel is just like, yo, orgies every day? Okay.
With a high school?
Anyways.
Ew.
I mean, come on. We've all thought the same thing about any other Sentai. So
we've all thought the same thing about Jet Condor.
Except maybe Tokyuju. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody weird has. Not important.
Oh. We don't need to talk about those people.
I don't know
It's
what
fine
you're
if it's
talking
not.
about.
They're the same. They're the same people who actually like Tokyuju.
Oh,
anyways.
You say that, and now we're gonna have to do that next, aren't we?
No, we're not. I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing it either. I already said.
I'm not. You can do that all by yourself, buddy.
I swear to God, if that.
It's not terrible, but I'm not sitting through it again. I have better things to do.
I don't like Tokyuju. So, anyways, as we were saying, so we are doing Kamen Rider Ryuki today. Let's start same way we always do with the characters. Well, actually, no. Let's talk about the premise, all right, real quick.
Yes. So
because the premise is stupid.
So what is the premise of Kamen Rider Ryuki? Well, let me ask you, AJ. Have you ever seen a little movie called The Highlander?
I thought the exact same fucking thing.
Because it is
like
the
the
Highlander.
moment I hear it, it's like, oh yeah.
That's essentially the premise, is that it's a bunch of dudes with superpowers in a mirror world fighting to the death because one of them will get a wish or unlimited power. They just kind of introduce that element. Like, why they never really even acknowledge it. It's like, I honestly had to go back and rewatch a bunch of episodes because they first start mentioning like we'll get a prize at the end. I'm like, when the fuck was this decided? Like, what? They just pull it out of their ass. And then
I kind of have a problem with that prize, but we'll get to it when we get to Odin proper.
So it is about the world's dumbest man, Shinji Kido, who blunders his way into this tournament of death and decides that he doesn't want to fight in the tournament of death and tries to get everybody else to stop being in the tournament of death, which is a pretty simple premise. It's just that it is completely insane.
I mean, like you said, it's just Highlander. See, it's weird because, like, okay, so let's get into
Highlander
Shinji.
if Connor McLeod was like, I don't want to fight, let's all be friends, and everybody else was still trying to kill him.
Because there can only be one!
Exactly.
And sadly, no Freddie Mercury. But
No,
you know,
yeah.
I guess
Well,
to be fair, Toei cannot afford Queen.
They couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford playing a second of that.
They couldn't even afford reusing the drum beat to any Queen song.
Pretty much.
Oh Jesus, dude!
They couldn't
you
even
imagine
afford
that?
pulling a Vanilla Ice.
They probably couldn't even afford a Milli Vanilli style of taking Queen.
So, let's talk about the characters right away. So Shinji. See, full disclosure, I have not seen this show in over a decade, so I forgot how much of a fucking idiot this guy was. Look, the first thing we see of this guy, he tries to answer his phone and trying to hear it through his fucking bike helmet. This guy is an idiot. Like an actual proper dumbass.
Shinji is not allowed to use the big boy scissors.
He's not allowed to use any scissors. He's still at the phase where like he has to crease the paper and like wet it to rip it up.
Hated doing
He
that.
can't even get near that.
Okay, he might be a little dim, but his heart is.
Shinji, please put down the Elmers.
Shinji, no.
Look, he might
No,
be
don't
dim.
drink the blue milk.
I drink milk. Shinji, that's glue. It have cow. It milk.
He would actually probably do that. He's like, oh, it's got a picture of a cow on it. It has to be milk.
It's just kind of sticky, guys.
Look, he might be
this
dim.
milk's bad.
Look, guys, he might be dim, but his heart is in the right place, and he's trying. At least give him that.
He's trying.
Well, see, that's what I was about to say. He's an idiot, but I like him a lot.
Yeah. He's so fun.
He's legitimately really enjoyable. I like this guy. The only problem I had, though granted it kind of plays into a theme that we'll get into, is he's a little there's times where he's almost a little too stupid and too naive to the point where I'm like, all right, dude, you should have been dead like 3 episodes ago. There's no way you survived this. And funny enough, he didn't after a while.
Well,
Funny enough. But yeah, so I don't know. Overall, I think he was a really good character in the sense that it is like Jay said. He is basically Connor McLeod. If he was like, I don't really want to do this,
and he had a
stupid
2-digit IQ.
Well, the 2 digits that's kind of generous, Jay.
I mean, yeah. It could be very low 2 digits, you know.
I mean, if you round it up, I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, 2 digits does not mean that it is a 2-digit number over 9. So, you know, it could be a decimal. So,
Oh, fucking hell, dude. Oh, fucking shit, dude. So that's really all there is to say about Shinji. Though, so let's get to the actual guy that we should be talking about, Ren.
Yes.
Connor McLeod, if he was actually fighting.
So, Connor.
So just Connor McLeod.
Connor
Yeah.
McLeod.
Yeah, I
Thank you for that astute observation.
look. I've seen Highlander. I had to run with it. I realized what I was saying.
A modern day Sophocles we got over here.
Actually, I prefer more of a Plato myself, but
More like
take Sophocles.
testicles.
Oh
Yeah, I bet you eat Plato.
shut up, Aristotle.
So as we were going on about, so we got Ren, who has the majority of the character. Well, I shouldn't even say that because Shinji does have character development as well. But again, this all goes back to something that we'll get into later because I'll save it. But we have Ren, who has the majority of the character development in this show, because he kind of goes from just a complete hard ass that's just like, what the fuck is your problem, to, I guess you could just call him what he is. He's more like a tsundere at the end.
Pretty much.
And it's weird because you can kind of see where Zio ripped this character off, which is ironic because Geiz and Ren look the exact fucking same.
They
Oh my
actually
god, they
do.
do.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, when you watch the show, like, seeing pictures, it's like, kind of, maybe. But now you watch the show, it's like, oh, wow, you could literally be his dad. That's kind of funny.
Mm.
But I like Ren a lot. Also, if it seems like we're going fast with these characters, it's because there's 13 of them.
But we don't. Well, we
there's
don't.
13 of these motherfuckers.
We don't actually see all 13 of them in the show. 3 of them are relegated to specials and the movie. Well, 2 of them to the movie.
Yeah,
one
because
of them...
they suck ass.
Yeah. Well.
So they suck ass.
Okay, I like Fem and Ryuga. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, I bet you do.
We'll get into that in episode final. Shut up.
Yeah, I bet you do.
have
Anyways,
my,
so
I have my reasons. Shut up.
Yeah, we
Phil,
know the reason it's Booba.
Phil, I'm just gonna tell you right now that it's a dude in that suit. Okay? Stop jerking off to it.
That's not the reason, you idiot.
So we got Ren. He gets the most character development because he has basically the thing that he's the one that for most of the show that he has something he's actually fighting
Exactly.
for, which is his girlfriend, she's in a coma because. Okay, Jay, I want to have to ask you this because I kind of got confused. Why was she? Is it because Darkwing attacked her? That's why?
Yeah, because she was full blast, got blasted by all the mirrors when Kanzaki completed his experiment. So she's
The quickening.
pretty much.
So that's what happens when you're like not a Highlander and get hit by a quickening. You just go into a
I mean,
coma.
have you seen one of those things? It's fucking lightning shooting everywhere. I'd be in a coma if I got hit by it.
Dude, wouldn't it be hilarious if there was actually like a quickening in this fucking show? That'd be. I mean, there's so many times where glass is breaking.
I mean, they kind of do it with like the lightning striking and everything, or not the energy balls when they destroy a monster, but. Like they could have just done straight up like have them do quickenings, which would have been fucking hilarious.
That would be fucking great. So he has the most character development because he's the one who actually has something to fight for most of the show. And
it's kind of funny.
Well,
funny how the one monster that he uses as his contract monster is the one that basically nearly killed his girlfriend. So it's kind of, I want to say irony on that one, where it's basically him giving that look to Darkwing and saying, "You know what you did. Now you serve me, motherfucker."
So it's kind of funny because like throughout the whole show, you don't really. I like this about the show where. For the most part, you're not really just told outright what's going on. This is the one thing I'll give to Inoue. He's very good at subtly, well, at this point, because once we get to Kiva, it subtly goes out the fucking window. But at this point, he's still very good at sprinkling in small bits of subtlety, like, okay, this is what's going on with Ren. This is what's going on with Zolda. This is what's going on with Ouja. Here and there, here and there. So I like that. And I like that they didn't just tell us outright, oh, yeah, Ren's girlfriend is in a fucking coma. Not dead. That's kind of new. She's in a coma. She's not dead yet.
Yeah,
so
that's true. I mean, what's the alternative? Oh, my girlfriend is dead. I'm going to go fight to
bring her back.
Bring her back from the dead.
I mean, technically, that's really... See... That's really my only problem because, well, for one, she ends up fucking dying anyways. So
she does.
No, she
better,
didn't
but she
die.
does.
She's alive.
Well, no, she dies.
No, in the
she gets brought back.
No.
Yeah, she dies. She gets brought back. That's the whole point of the ending.
Wait a minute. So she was in when she woke up from the coma. So she
and she died right
Wait,
afterwards.
that was her dying? I thought she just went back to sleep.
No, she's dead, dude. She actually died.
Holy shit.
No, I don't blame you because, again, this show doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, they don't.
In the sense that it doesn't just out because dude, most of the writers don't even get named on screen most of the time. Like it takes like what, like a few episodes for Tiger to get a name. Or Zolda.
Oh yeah.
Actually, does Ouja even get his name?
No, Ouja.
Yes, it does. Right?
Ouja gets it later on.
They call him Ouja like once.
Yeah, so like most of the stuff in the show, and this is a warning for anybody going into this, do not expect them to just be like shoving it in your face. This is what's going on. It kind of expects you to be a little bit smarter and like, understand. No, this is obviously what's happening. We're not going to treat you like a 5-year-old.
And I think
so.
I think that's one of the strong parts of the writing too. Was
very much.
You can compare and contrast the actual main writer Kobayashi's later works, like is just to name off the top of my head, where a lot. My dad's yelling at my cat. Anyways, what was I saying? You can kind of compare her other works where she does a lot of the same thing where like she doesn't front load everything about the greed or anything like that immediately, so you have time to be like they introduce stuff but they don't just immediately explain it to you, so you're left to piece together the mystery yourself before they actually explain it. And then Ryuki does that a lot as well, and I think Inoue also contributes to it because he's also really good at that too.
Yeah.
It's then this was right before Fies, when Inoue was kind of left to his own devices to make his own show, and he started just going completely fucking bonkers.
It's so weird, isn't it? To like watch Agito, then Ryuki, and then Fies, and like just to see the transformation from competent Inoue to batshit grandpa.
You go from the man who wrote Jetman to the man who wrote Hokkaido.
But with less Jesus Town.
Dude, I legitimately keep forgetting he wrote that movie.
How do you forget he wrote that
I
movie?
don't know, but like every once in a while, I just kind of like it pops into my head like a weird memory. It's like, oh right, he wrote that.
Can we watch that again?
Maybe someday.
I've seen that with my buddies like 4 times already.
I need to rewatch it. Show like my friends. This is the batshit stuff I get into every now and then, and this is one of the batshittiest.
So, going from Ren again, we'll talk more about more details about these guys as we go along because that's just the way the show is. So, going from Ren to honestly one of my favorites, fucking Zolda, who's just a complete fucking douche.
But he's a likable douche.
He's the biggest prick ever, even considering that the show has multiple serial killers in it, and it's the best. He is the stereotypical douchebag sleazy lawyer, and he is cranked up to 11, and he is so fantastic. I love it too because his introduction, which is him being chased by a bunch of guys who want to beat him up because obviously he's a lawyer dealing with a case, some shady criminal guy. And he starts going on this tangent about how it's like, yeah, they wanted me to get the guy off, and they started bribing me with money and all this shit. And you think it's gonna be like, oh, I turned them down because of justice, and I solved the case and got the guy arrested. And he's like, no, actually, I just spent all their money and then actually got the guy. I got the guy a innocent verdict. I got him off. He did it all. I just took all their fucking money.
Dude, see, it's so funny because like usually. This is the guy I would fucking hate in the show. Like, oh god, this really? But no, I don't know if it's if it's Inoue or the other writer. What's her,
Kobayashi? Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because of her or him, but they toe the line so fucking well with complete irredeemable fuck and. Wow, I actually really like this guy.
Well, he has a motivation for fighting because we find out throughout this.
Of course,
we find out throughout
that's
this
like later.
But we find out throughout the series that he has a terminal illness. Now, I actually did look that up to try to see like his symptoms of coughing blood and losing his vision. I can't get a definitive answer, so let's just call it unnameable terminal illness. He's basically fighting because he wants to live for the rest of his life, which.
Well, I don't think they would. I don't think they usually really. I mean, unless it's like an actual adult J drama, they don't usually name the
I figured it was just
the illness.
cancer, but
That's
they
probably
never
what it
really
would be.
specify.
I mean, it makes sense.
And it's a reasonable motive. I'm a sleazy rich douchebag. I want to continue being a sleazy rich douchebag, and I'll kill all these people so I can continue doing it for the rest of my life.
But over time,
it's a reasonable motive.
Sorry, Jay, go on.
It's a reasonable motive, and it makes you, it makes you not necessarily sympathize with him, but it makes you, you get invested with him, where he's just kind of this asshole, and he has a reason to be an asshole because he's just an asshole, but he's doing all this stuff because he doesn't want to die, and it's a reasonable motive, but at the same time, he's just so unrepentantly, unapologetically awful all the time that it still makes you root for him. He's basically like the lawyer from Breaking Bad if he had superpowers.
Oh, Better Call Saul.
Exactly. He's
it's funny because like when you say it like that, and like it's true because every single time he was on screen, I was like, I like this guy.
What is he
I
gonna
shouldn't
do
like
next?
this guy, but I like him. Also, of course, he also has one of my favorite moments in the entire thing where he's about to kiss some chick, and then he's like, I'm out. Granted, in context, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but it makes for a very good video clip.
I love that bit too because he does the pose and everything, but he does it like really quietly too. It's hysterical.
He like whispers henshin. It's like, wow, dude, fucking that's beautiful.
My favorite is when that same person that he's trying to kiss, he comes back, he's about to do it, and he's right about to go for the lips, but then he goes right to her forehead, and I'm like, oh god, you douchebag. But over the course of the series, he gets more sympathetic. He does become a little more concerned about others.
And that comes into a very interesting theme. Because, and again, I wrote notes about this. So, when I was watching this show, a very big theme came out to me. Where writers who eventually started changing lived a lot longer than the ones who didn't.
Yeah.
Like, Tiger, complete douchebag, died. Emperor, complete douchebag. Towards the end, not really, but still, died.
He wasn't like a douche. He was just,
you know what I mean.
He was just greedy and kept changing sides because he's like,
yeah.
oh, you guys, I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't really have a motive. I just want to be like this.
We'll get to Emperor when we get to Emperor.
Or
here to have
Scissors.
fun. Yeah,
or Scissors.
Scissors, who was a serial killer as well, and
see,
is still the shortest living writer in any series, not counting movie characters.
See, it's because that's the thing. Like, and I'm not even saying changing in a positive way, because Raya died as well extremely fast, but he didn't change at all, negative or positive. Like this show, it was weird because like it kind of made it seem like those who are unwilling to change were gonna die right away because they can't adapt. And I'm just like, that really started popping out to me when Tiger died, and I'm just like, huh, that's kind of interesting when you think about it. Because like, yeah, you can say Emperor and Tiger might have had a change of heart towards the end, but by that point it was already too late, so it doesn't really matter. But like, it's like going from Zolda to the next guy.
Wait, but before we
everybody loves.
AJ, before we go on to the next guy, can I because this is from Zolda's part, can I just talk about the true MVP of this show?
Yes.
Who?
Goro.
Oh my god, I love Goro. He's great.
Goro is such an MVP of this show. That guy, he fights, he cooks, and he's loyal to a fault. And then there are things where it's like he says the weirdest things, like you whistle really well, and you just want to hug the guy and just be like, I like you.
I'm still very much
still
shocked
funny
they
because
didn't make him a writer.
Well, they kind of did at the very end there.
Well, yeah, but
he's,
you know
he's also the new Zolda in the Rider Time special. But other than that,
is
yeah,
true.
He never really, well, he became a writer later in Kabuto, and then again,
Which
I
rider
guess
was
really
he again?
he was one of the many Zabis.
Oh.
He was also the fruit shop guy in Geiz too, who also is surprisingly not a writer. Maybe someday.
To be fair, this guy has a knack for playing people who might be writers but never become writers.
Wait, the fruit shop guy. Are we
definitely-
talking about the guy who takes Kota on as one of his employees, but says, "Oh, I know you're a writer, so you can leave whenever you want"?
Yeah.
Holy
Bondo,
shit!
yes.
I didn't know that. Wait, that's right, because I watched Gaian before I watched Ryuki. So.
Actually, can before anything, can I just say one thing?
What?
Just one thing.
What?
You're a butcher. You're a fucking hack. Fuck you.
It
No,
took you-
seriously,
it took
seriously.
you this long
After
to make-
watching this show, after 10 years, after 10 fucking years, anybody who comes up to me, you said it wasn't a remake of Ryuki, you can go shove it up your fucking ass. It is such a fucking blatant ripoff of Ryuki that it is unapologetic at some point.
Urobuchi
Fuck you.
is probably the only person I can think of who ripped off the same show twice. Because he ripped off Ryuki for Madoka, and then he ripped off Madoka again to make Gaiz, which was also.
And each
still a
time
rip-
he did it worse.
and each time he did it worse.
Like I'm
it's not
just
even-
saying
it's
this
not
right
even
now.
like-
Anybody out there who has any doubt that this is a ripoff, that Gaim is a ripoff of Ryuki, watch Ryuki. There are so many parallels between the two that I'm just like, it's not even funny.
Especially the
He's
second
not even
half.
It's not
funny.
even a surprise because Butcher has said before that Ryuki is his favorite Kamen Rider. So, boy, I'm not surprised.
about to be a remake of Black. Gay, I like Gaim. It's so dark.
Okay, Tumblr.
Anyways, as we were saying,
Yes, Goro is the best of this show. I fucking
he is
love him.
awesome.
I love it too because they when they introduce him, they have him be like setting him up as being Zolda because they introduce Zolda in the same episode, and he's being around, he's being sneaky and serious. He looks like he's trying to kill Asakura, and it's like, no, he's just his manservant basically. It's great.
I was about to say the same thing. He's got a manservant.
He basically is.
You remember the episode
just-
where Shinji is helping one of his coworkers who we'll talk about later because she thinks that she's being stalked, and then we find out it's fucking Goro. It's like, why did you tell me? It's like, you never asked.
See, it's even funnier when they introduce him, because he does a fucking rider pose every time he was about to fight, and it's like, how is this guy not a honestly? I expected him to be one after a while. I'm like, okay, he has to actually be one because there's no way you have a guy this badass and not happen. But then again, this is pre-decade rider. This is pre-decade rider where not everybody gets a fucking belt as a fucking
If this was
consolation
made
prize.
nowadays, they definitely would have made him a rider.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck! You know what? You're right. He'd be one of the many 50 riders in Saber. I joke about that, but give it a minute. We'll have like 20 by the end of the year.
I don't
I
even
don't
know.
know.
I don't even know what's
Saber's
going
on
on because the subgroup that I've been following have not released the subs for episode 19 yet, and it's been a week.
Oh, they probably gave up on it too.
I mean,
Anyways.
Saber's on like what? How many episodes now? And there's already 8 of them.
19 and 20 for
Jesus
today.
Christ! Jesus
They're,
Christ!
they're about to be Q Ranger for the most amount of concurrent heroes. But anyways, so now that we talked about Goro,
But speaking of that, real quick, that's one of the things that's surprising about this show compared to even later shows, where even though they have a huge fuckload of characters, they don't drop them all. They steadily introduce them over the course of the show. Each of them has their own arc, and they build up their arc, and right when their arc kind of gets concluded, that's when they introduce a new one, and they don't keep it like
I
they
agree.
don't
That's a
overload
good
you
one.
like. There's 13 of them, and at most, the only time there's any more than like 3 or 4 was when Guy died, and that's when the show had the most writers at 6 at a time.
I forgot Guy existed.
Everybody forgot he existed. He's so fucking lame. Nobody fucking talks about him.
Oh,
Nobody
I'll
talks
talk about him when we
Then
get
again,
to him.
nobody talks about Tiger or Emperor or basically half the other writers in this show, anyways. So
Because they suck.
they do suck.
No, but see, you're right
Raya's
about that
alright.
because you're right about that because every single time that they're because at least in this show, everybody and maybe someone will disagree with me, but people usually say, "Oh, it's the Ren show," but if anything, I would say technically all of them are the main character in this show because they all get not equal amounts. Obviously, there is people who are more of the protagonist than others.
Exactly.
But they do get a good amount of screen time each, and they all feel just as important. I don't feel like Shinji overshadows Ouja, and I don't feel like Zolda overshadows Ren. They all feel equally important.
Oh, yeah.
Which is surprising, because I thought maybe at least one of them would just be thrown out the fucking wayside. I mean, kind of Guy, but again, nobody gives a shit about Guy.
We'll get to him when we get to him.
Well, actually, Jay, they changed his name. Now he's just gay.
I hate you.
Oh, I was waiting for that one.
I remember that.
Oh, dude.
I
wrote
still
that
can't
down
believe they
at
did that.
episode 1, and I was waiting for this. I actually wrote this too. I have been waiting 50 fucking episodes for this.
I still remember when they did that. It was. I still remember watching that part. I was like, wait, what? Where is it going?
You know what the funniest
Where
part?
is it
You know
going?
what the funniest
Bravo,
part
Inoue.
is?
Bravo.
You know what the funniest part is? I don't remember who he was gay with. I just remember
was
Guy.
Raya.
It's Raya. It was Raya.
Wait, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That Rider Time special is such a fucking mess.
Dude, again, do I need to bring out the written by Toshiki Inoue label again?
I'm putting that in the fucking thumbnail.
You might as well.
So going on from Zelda to honestly one of my favorites, even though he shouldn't be, Ouja.
Ouja is
Because he's a fucking madman.
That's what's so appealing about him. He is literally at the point of the show where he was brought in. This was when Shinji was just about to start making people start working together, and fucking Kanzaki Shiro throws in the wild card, bringing in, oh, so you're not going to fight? Well, I'm going to bring in a person who does want to fight and has no morals.
Exactly.
And that's Ouja. Ouja has Asakura. He knows what he's doing. He relishes in what he's doing. And in fact, he's got and he complements it with one of the best rider suits in the entire show. Hands down, one of the best suits.
See, it's weird because, like, you basically hit the nail on the head. He not only, I mean, it not just in a story sense, but in a pacing sense, he came in at the perfect time. Because right at the time he came in, I felt myself getting like, can we pick it up here, guys? Come on. And right then and there, Ouja comes in. It's like, okay, shit's about to go down. And it did go down, because his first fucking fight, he killed the guy. Mm-hmm. Cold fucking blood. I love Ouja, dude. He's great.
He's so good.
And
He's so good.
And it's his actor. His actor, like, really fully commits to what
His
he
actor
does.
looks fucking evil.
The best thing that I can say about Ouja's actor is that it makes me want to watch Changerion now, because I just want to see more. I just want to see more of him. He's just so good.
I mean, I mentioned in the server, he's basically what Majima could be, because he just feels like Majima at some point.
I mean,
I don't think it's just the snake skin jacket though.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the snake skin jacket definitely helps.
But he just looks like an evil fuck.
And
he is. And the thing I like is that they never tried to, like, tone him down or explain. No. The closest they get is the one episode with the girl on the boat where he's like, yeah, I was using her as a hostage, and that's why I was trying to keep the monsters from eating her. And they leave it vague whether he's telling the truth or not, because he's watching over the whole time she's in the hospital. But again, he's still just doing that because he doesn't want the monsters to eat her, because he's using her as bait.
Exactly.
Basically. But, and that's the thing, is that they never try to, like, explain him either. Like, they kind of do, where it's like, oh, well, you saved your brother from a fire, and, you know, there was this and that, and, you know, you've kind of been wandering and all that. And he's like, I just tried to kill you myself. And
then he does kill him.
I mean, he does, but they still leave it vague whether or not he's telling the truth or not, too. They never outright, you know, they're never outright like, this is why I'm doing this. This is my motive. This is my explanation. You know, they leave it vague, and that's really nice too.
It kind of reminds me a little bit, and you maybe have to squint your eyes a bit to see it, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Heath Ledger's Joker, where you don't really know why he's doing it, but you also feel like he's telling the truth when he says, "I just want to, I just like doing it." You know,
I can see that.
You get just enough of his motive to actually understand why he's doing this, but they never try to explain him. They never outright tell you this is what it is. They
never
leave
justify him like they do Zolda.
Exactly. Like Zolda has an excuse because he's just a shithead, but he's dying. Ouja just wants to watch the world burn, basically.
Basically. And he's one of the greatest characters because of it. No wonder he came back to beat the shit out of XA.
He's also...
Oh my god, I love that special so much.
And a lot of our fans will know this because I mentioned it, and then I think it was either Jay or AJ who put the screenshot up of it in the spoilers. There's a scene where it's right after Ouja just defeated Guy, and you have Ryuki and Ouja, Shinji and Asakura looking at each other, and their contract monsters are just like facing each other. They're basically the exact antithesis to each other, and I love that, but I wish they'd gone more into that.
I mean, it's kind of weird because you think they would, but towards the end, Asakura kind of becomes Zolda's rival, if anything. They become... Well, I guess it kind of makes sense in some sort of way.
That's weird because they kind of introduce him as being Zolda's rival, where he was his former client that he got sent to jail, and then Asakura just wants to kill him because of that. So, you know, it makes sense there. But they kind of try to set him up as being like everybody's rival. He's just this zany wild card. He's kind of Ryuki's rival because he's, again, like Phil said, he's his opposite. But they never really go any real far in one direction. And it's fine as it is, but I can kind of understand where, yeah, if they went heavily more in certain directions, I think it would have made more sense.
Of course, yes. I guess now we go into what's called the lightning round, as in we talk about writers that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So first off, we got Raya. He died.
But
Raya,
he was the only other one that wanted to stop the fighting, and he had a reason for it.
Yes, but see, and here's the thing, and I mentioned this again earlier. He's another perfect example of he was unwilling to really bend any type of morals or bend any type of his ideals, so he died for it. So it's like, and that kind of goes back again to the whole thing of like the ones who were the most unwilling to change were the ones who had the shorter lifespan. So Raya was one of them.
With the exception
on
of Ouja, but I mean, even then, he kind of changes somewhat over the course of the series.
That's what I'm saying. The most unwilling to change, because I don't think Ouja was unwilling to change. It's just that's just the way he was.
Why is it when I say Ouja now, I think of the Ojama archetype?
I don't know.
From fucking Yu-Gi-Oh.
I wouldn't call Raya useless. He definitely has a pretty hefty impact on the plot. Where, again, he definitely helps Shinji lead more into the let's try to get everybody to stop fighting arc. But again, he's also somewhat unwilling to change, and he's more willing to fight more than Shinji is. And but also he's kind of the one who uncovers the plot first, more or less, as he's kind of the first one to figure out. He figures out what the deal with Eri is and what the deal with Kazami is and all that. The real secret of Kanzaki, whatever. I keep fucking getting Kanzaki Shiro mixed up with Kazami Shiro, who is Kamen Rider V3, because they have very similar names. And it
Jay, trust me, I did the same thing. I kept forgetting I kept mixing up a lot of the characters' names in this show.
I mean, shit. Raya was the first one to get the survive card.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, yes. He never got to use it. But
there's concept art of his survive form and what would have happened to Evil Diver, his contract monster. It would have been renamed Exo Diver. But I like Raya's survive form. I don't know how practical it would have been in the show, but it looked fucking awesome.
To be fair, I'm glad he never used it. I'm glad, because it kind of would have been a waste.
Yeah. Then again, that's one of the things also that I like about the show is that there's a lot more like concept art forms that actually exist. Like they talk about how Raya became a writer because his friend couldn't become a writer and he died because of it. and like there's concept art of what happened if he actually became a writer, and his name is Kamen Rider Blade, coincidentally. And like Ouja has a survived form, and a bunch of other characters have survived forms. I mean, well, everybody except
Abyss.
Okay, well, there's a well, Abyss doesn't count because he's not real.
By the Rider Time special.
Well, nobody cares about Rider Time right now.
There is of course the infamous Photoshop of Zolda Survive, which is just his default form painted gold, and Magna Garda is a fucking tank now. And
you're implying he wasn't a tank already?
Well, I mean, like a literal, like he's a tank
Dude,
body with like a.
I literally
head.
told AJ this, and I probably said this years ago when I first watched Ryuki. I thought that Magna Ginga was basically a fucking mech suit for Zolda, and then when I find out, oh crap, it's just a really, really extra large attachment for the front of his gun. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Man, you know what the worst part is? That there's a guy inside that suit because it moves around and everything. Like, it doesn't walk, but it's clearly moving around. Like, there's a guy in there. I would fucking hate to wear that suit. Oh my god. Anyway,
it's probably as heavy as the chain.
Speaking of joke survive forms, the character we didn't even talk about, Scissors. He had a joke survive form. His joke survive form, which he just becomes Big Zam. Also, my favorite thing too is that they have another monster on the screen that his contract beast becomes, and it's just a fucking one of the Predacons from Beast Wars. I don't know which one, but they inserted that on there. I love old joke shit like that, where it's like, here's just a Photoshop of something that could exist. It's like, it's 2001, 2002. You could have fucking believed that because the internet was so basically barren and computers.
He becomes
like
a giant enemy crab.
What about Velika?
Like shit because it.
No, Fariki! Fuck it! Not Velika, it's Fariki! Fuck!
Yes, exactly my point is like you could do shit like that because you had barely 800 by 600 resolution. So, I mean, for all you know, it's real. Whatever.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that pixel is something.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, the only other person I expected to get a survive form, which is surprising they didn't in the end, was Ouja, honestly. Because he kind of feels like you would have gotten one. Though, again, I understand why they didn't, because it would kind of muddle the...
Yeah, it would start to ruin the pacing a bit, because he's already like this super overpowered wild card.
Exactly.
That being said, he does have a survive form, it's just it wasn't in the show. Hang on one second.
But it's a nice looking survive form.
Yeah, let me post the picture because it is sweet.
I think I've seen it before though. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I actually really
nice.
do like it.
I wish they'd make a sick figure of that. I would buy it.
That is a sick
one.
figure.
It's one of those ones they made for their stories, but they didn't actually release, which is annoying.
Oh, come on.
I mean, that's just SIC in general.
Raya's got a figure though, but not Ouja's though. You can buy Raya's, not his.
Raya's is expensive though, like around $150 I've seen.
I mean, that's just SIC.
That's
no, it's not SIC. It's something else.
It's technically SIC.
So,
right.
anyways, going on to the next one, Guy. And now we go on to Tiger.
Wait.
No,
can I just say something? Okay.
What?
I don't know how many people know this from our past. Past people will probably know when we talked about our favorite and most hated writers. Guy is my most hated writer in any writer series, and you want to know why? Because that stupid fucking
better
grit.
than you?
No, because he's sociopathic. He likes to think that, oh, I can use people as puppets. He gets the Ore Journal crew involved in his fucking schemes. Yes, he actually will threaten people's life. He threatens Shinji's life with his card just because, hey, I have it, I can do it. I'm a rich fucking prick and I can do what I want. And he gets Shinji's
that's kind of
crew
his
involved.
point.
Yeah. But the thing is, you don't get the fucking Ore Journal crew involved because they're not in the Rider battle. So keep them out of it. And it's just that smugness he has.
But Phil, again, so what?
I still...
This is the war.
It's because... Okay, see, I love Ouja, because Ouja goes fucking nuts and he sticks with it, and because he already is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Freaking Guy.
Ouja is a psychopath, but Guy is a sociopath.
Guy is nothing more than a sociopathic rich boy brat. That's what he is.
Yes, and that's his point.
And I hate him
You're
for
supposed
that.
to. You're supposed to hate him because he is basically what Ouja would be if Ouja actually thought about his actions.
Again,
that's his point.
I still hate
that's
him.
That's why you're supposed to be happy when Ouja kicks the living shit out of him.
Oh, I was.
Exactly.
I was very happy when he kicked the
like
living shit out of him.
everybody was happy when he died because he was just the dick.
I wanted to know that.
I kind of like the chess master thing that he kind of does, where he's trying to pit everybody against him and he's trying to manipulate everybody, but he's just not smart enough to actually follow through on any of it, so he ends up getting fucked over by the end. I like that. It's great. Part. Like that's the fun part of it, but then he just gets screwed over because he's just not smart enough.
Well,
also,
it's not just that; it's also the fact that he didn't expect a literal fucking psychopath to come after him.
Exactly. You don't expect a man using you as a meat shield and then stabbing your corpse.
It's so good, isn't it?
He is the guard vent.
Oh, good one. So
now let's go to Tiger.
Yeah. Huh?
Well, actually, should we just get Scissors out of the way first?
What the fuck is there even to talk about Scissors?
Scissors came in, he looked like Kike's and died.
Oh my god, he looks so much like him. It bothers me.
Dude, I thought it was him.
The actor or the
I thought
suit?
it was... No, the actor.
The actor.
The actor looks like him, only he's taller.
Exactly. He's Murakami if he's not a manlet. Which is saying something because they're both manlets.
You mean like Shinji?
Yes.
Shinji is a fucking manlet.
I mean,
he's
they're Asian.
tiny.
That's just normal.
So yeah, Scissors. What was I say? He died.
He million died. Burgers. I don't know.
You know what? I would have rather had I would have rather had burgers.
I'm still looking for a re-upload of that YouTube poop. It is driving
I am
me
too.
insane.
I'm hoping somebody out there fucking does it because I want to feel like a million burgers.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Don't worry
Scissors
about
is
it.
such a fucking joke. I don't know how he's become like weirdly like popular. Like he fucking of all fucking writers, he got one of those fucking stupid ride watches. Out of any fucking character, he got one. That says a lot about how much of a meme he is.
I think it's because he's just that pathetic.
Wait, Scissors actually got a ride watch?
Yes, he did.
Oh my God.
They put him as a choice in a fan poll, and he won.
It's because I think it's because Japan just finds extreme irony hilarious.
Also, that reminds me of a net movie for one of the later movies where they make a joke about how nobody ever sees his finisher move, and then they like he uses his finisher move, and then everybody's just lying on the floor in pain, and then we don't actually even see it. It's great.
Actually, what is it?
It's
because they have it in one of the games.
I know what it is. It's basically he jumps up, he jumps into Volcancer, his monster's arms. The monster flings him into the air and then he drops. I think I don't know.
That's lame as fuck.
Hey,
but
Verde,
I guess it's Scissors.
Sucks.
I mean, it's Scissors. It's Scissors. This is like expecting Gilbert to win the championship.
Basically.
So, who is next?
Tiger.
Emperor.
Yeah,
well,
let's get Emperor
Tiger.
out of the way.
Tiger was technically first.
Oh, okay, Tiger.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a dick.
What
a little shit.
Look, you summed it up perfectly. He's worse than Valkyrie. He makes Valkyrie look consistent.
He makes Big Show look consistent.
Here's the thing.
I'd rather have
Tiger.
Big Show on my team.
I would.
Who's Big Show?
He's a wrestler.
Oh, but okay. So here's the thing with Tiger. All throughout his entire time on the show, he wants nothing more than to be a hero. He keeps thinking, and on this deranged version of what Alternate Zero has told him, that a hero must make sacrifices in order to be able to survive. The thing is, he doesn't get that It's not sacrificing other people, although that does happen at times. It's more sacrificing yourself for the benefit of others. That's what a hero does. A hero does not choose or do things because they make it happen. No, it happens because it's because that little faucet of courage turns on and they jump into battle and they don't think about it. That's what courage and being a hero is. He is not a hero. And I don't even call him neutral. I call him a fucking
yeah, but that's the
anti-villain.
thing. That's the thing. That's the point. He's supposed to be a direct contrast to Shinji, who is an actual hero. Like, the whole point of him is to try and make it seem like, well, at least to Shinji, like Shinji isn't the actual hero because Shinji isn't sacrificing himself. Like, I think the one scene that sums it up perfectly is when the doctor's like, you can save 10 people on the right or one person on the left. Which one do you choose? Exactly. And it comes back again where it's like, why would I have to choose? I want to save them all. That's the point.
It's a reference to the trolley problem that is now a meme of, do you pull the lever and actionably kill one person, or you do nothing and kill all of these people? That's kind of what he's referring to there, and it's more of Shinji trying to break fate, trying to break the rules and say, I want to save everybody. You know, and I like that idea of him trying to be like, no, screw fate, screw the natural turn of events. I want the way I want it, kind of thing.
Which kind of comes up to a theme, but we'll get to that as well.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of the doctors, very briefly, we have the bad boy teacher from Forze. As he's basically, he's like a bootleg rider, essentially. So him, they set him up where he figures out what Kanzaki Shiro, he created the mirror world and everything, he figures it out basically just by accident, and he's like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna destroy your project because I'm awful and also I'm cool. They never really give him a reason to actually want to like destroy the mirror world. He just decides he's going to do it. Which, I mean, this is
fuck
fair.
you, Kanzaki. I'm going to make my own rider with blackjack and hookers.
I'm going to make my own rider war.
Wait, that's why he was doing it?
No.
We don't even know. But that's the thing. That's fine.
But, see, it's weird. Because Alternative Zero brings up a very big problem for this show. And it's the powers. Because if this fucker can do it, why doesn't he just make himself as powerful as Odin?
Because
do we have a reason why Odin is more powerful than anybody else in this show?
Yeah, we do, because he has
other than the fact
he has the final survive card.
But see, here's the thing: why can't Bad Boy over there make his own survive card?
Because he doesn't know about the survive card.
He saw it. He saw it with Ren.
That's besides.
I don't think. That's beside the point. Yeah, exactly. Besides the point.
The reason, of course, is because then we would have no plot. But
I'm just saying because when you and this again, I know I'm jumping the gun a bit here, but like when you give me kind of like a power that is man-made, and you have somebody who made themselves more power, it's basically giving yourself cheat codes in an online game, like. When you give yourself more power, what's to stop someone else from doing the same thing if we already saw they were smart enough to copy your powers? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of just brings itself to, like, you're leaving it a bit of an open-ended thing there.
Up that the alternative system isn't that great, where it doesn't... They also do this thing where the writers have, like, a time limit on them, but they never really, like, address it. They just start disintegrating at some points and be like, "Oh, we're out of time. We got to leave." Like,
yeah, that's
like
another
it's a
one of
fucking
those.
Fighting
Like,
game
they just mention it.
Yeah, like it's a fucking fighting game, and the round timer ended up, so we gotta start
basically.
Round. Pretty much. So that's the thing, is that they never really like address it. It just kind of exists.
That's kind of the problem with a lot of the stuff in this show. Like, that's kind of my biggest problem with just, like, okay, again, jumping the gun, but the prize that Odin gives us, right?
Exactly.
So, so here's my thing. why does Odin need everyone to fight? If he's this powerful, and if he gets beaten, and that means he gets like if he gets beaten and somebody gets his power, they have all of his powers and they can do whatever they want. So why does
they kind of hint at it in the movie where he's doing it because he wants the strongest person so he can take their life and revive his sister and restart the battle and everything like that. Why he doesn't just kill them all himself personally? Well, I mean, obviously he needs them to be more powerful, but then that kind of defeats the point anyways.
So, but like, if we're taking it solely just from the show itself, like, if he is this powerful, he literally can just do it himself. This whole thing just seems kind of pointless. Or does it need somebody to fight? Like, that's the one thing that just doesn't get explained. And not only that, but like, what if somebody like Ouja won? Because I don't think Kanzaki Shiro was like he wasn't a full bad guy. So would he have just like reset the whole thing of like Ouja won?
We don't know.
Technically yes, but that's beside the point.
Wait, what?
That's kind of, well, we'll get to that when we decide to talk about the book very briefly.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the thing is that they explain it just enough where you can understand why he's doing the battle royale shit, but not enough to be like, well, why exactly does he need to do this? Exactly, which is what you gotta say in there. There's implication that he's basically just fucking with everybody and that he's never actually planning on giving anybody a wish, or it's basically all a ruse and that he's just planning to kill them anyways after he gives them their wish, or they kind of imply that it's all a setup, but they never really outright say it. And then again, when you compare the show and the movie, where in the movie they outright say, yeah, it's a setup, then he never actually planned on honoring the wish, and then he was just planning on doing rocks fall, everybody dies anyways, which then does happen in the show either way.
Yeah.
But you compare it to the show itself, they never really give any like reason why he's doing this. If again, technically he's not Odin, but he has the power of Odin, so he could just do whatever the fuck he wanted, but whatever.
The funny thing is, in Rider Time, they actually say that Odin is Kanzaki Shiro. It might be him.
I mean, they imply it. He's not actually in it, but
see, that's the thing. Like, that's my biggest problem with the show itself. Is just okay. Like I said, like I mentioned before, like if Ouja does Kanzaki Shiro, at least before the episode final, before this, does he expect somebody to wish for the Super Duper? It's kind of the same problem I had, funny enough, with Dragon Ball Super, where there's this big ass tournament where somebody gets one big super duper all powerful wish, but at the end, the guy who was running the tournament said, "Oh yeah, if you didn't wish for the super duper happy ending, I was just gonna kill you all anyways." Like that kind of what it comes off as. Like, oh yeah, if you didn't wish for the super duper happy ending, I was just gonna kill random
Well, I mean,
everybody.
that's the thing, because he's clearly trying to influence the riders to have their own motive. He's clearly manipulating them to like want their own reason for fighting more and more. Like Kiruaka, he keeps mentioning over and over again. It's like, how much time do you have left again before you die? You know, you don't have a whole lot of time left. You better hurry up and kill those other guys, buddy. Huh? You know, stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
With Ouja, he's just like, I know you want to kill people, so chop chop, get to it, buddy. Stuff like that. But they never really give any reason for why he's going to give these guys a wish. It just seems kind of. Again, it goes back to what we just said, where just enough is explained for you to understand what's trying to go on. You can understand the mystery, but there's just so very little not explained that it still leaves you questioning yourself. And that's fine. That's a decent mystery, but when the mystery isn't your main focus of the plot, it just feels lacking overall.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if the mystery has no, if it's never solved, then, I mean, what's the point, It's like saying, what's in the box? Oh, I don't know. And then you just burn the box. Well, shit,
Exactly.
what the fuck, what's the point? And I know we skipped over Emperor, but really it's not like he really matters in the grand scheme of things. So
Emperor shows up like right near the end just because, oh yeah, we forgot there's supposed to be 13 riders, aren't there?
I like that.
Even
Oh
then-
yeah,
even then
there was
they
supposed
forgot.
to be more.
Even then, they
Yeah, but
forgot
even
to
then
use
they
all the riders.
forget. They forgot 3
I
of
know,
them.
yeah, but like it's just funny as well because it's like, oh yeah, there's supposed to be 13 of these guys.
I mean,
shit.
that's kind of why I kind of like Emperor, even though he's barely in the show, where he's just trying to do it because he just wants to. He doesn't really have a motive. He's just. I love it too because he's just some boring, unfulfilled asshole who's like, yeah, sure, I'll fight dudes. I'll become a superhero. Fuck you. And then turns out that he's super duper crazy rich, and he's like, well, I was basically just fighting because I wanted to be happy, and now I'm happy, so fuck you, Kanzaki. And he's just
Yeah, that's
you
like
can't
one
do
of the
that.
most interesting parts
exactly.
of the show. It brings in the concept of, well, they do it with Ren as well. Of course, they kind of take it away from him like 2 episodes later.
Exactly.
What happens if a writer gets his wish fulfilled before he wins?
He still
What's
has
the
to
point
fight.
at that point? Like, what's like? Yeah, of course they still need to fight, but like to them, it's kind of like this, and it's this weird feeling because we already got to Emperor and Odin. We already talked about him a little bit. It's
Well,
this.
'cause
It's
Odin's
this
not
theme.
a character, so
Basically, it's this weird theme, and I know you guys probably noticed this too. The entire show has this weird theme of futility, where, you know, if you don't fight, you're screwed. But if you do fight, you're screwed. If you don't
Yes.
fight, you're gonna eventually turn into a monster. But if you do fight, if you do fight, you turn into a monster. If you don't fight, you're letting these monsters run rampant. So either way, you're hurting
I mean,
people.
you don't turn into a monster; you get eaten. But that's besides the point.
Well, but you know what I mean. Like you're letting
No,
like
yeah,
if you
I know what
if
you
you,
mean.
if
You
like
get-
if you fight, you're gonna be like Ouja. You know, you'll turn into him
Oh,
eventually.
okay. You didn't mean literally
Like
then. Okay.
yeah, like if you fight, you turn into somebody like Ouja who just wants bloodlust. But if you don't fight, you're letting people like Ouja fulfill their bloodlust. Where it's like
And then also, you're just letting the mirror monsters run rampant anyway.
exactly. So it's like it's this weird feeling, and it gets and again we're towards the ending here. It's this weird feeling of like futility where, yeah, congratulations, you won, but you killed all these people to get here. Congrats, aren't you a special boy? Like it feels so empty. Like, I mentioned this in the server that towards the ending, there's this weird feeling of just like, wow, this, what the fuck? Like, what's the point? And I like that because really, in the end, that's kind of how Shinji saw this. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a point to any of this. Like, and it's not a bad thing. Let's just say that right now. It doesn't. This is not a bad thing, because I know this is exactly what they were going for. Where it just feels like, well, this is all futile. If I fight, I get fucked. If I don't fight, I get fucked. Shit. I mean, Shinji basically says it. When I don't want to fight, people want to fight me. When I do want to fight, nobody wants to fight me. So what the fuck do I do?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I love that about this show because it just feels so empty. Like it's so weird, but like it just feels empty, but in a good way. It's so weird.
Exactly.
Did we miss anybody for the characters that mattered?
So in
The
terms
Ore
of
Journal
writers-
crew.
Well, yeah, in terms of writers, no. We'll briefly speed through the major side cast aside from Goro, who I already talked about. There's of course Eri, Kanzaki's sister, who is kind of the main draw of the plot because she is essentially the entire reason for the plot, as we find out.
No, that's Yui. Eri is Ren's girlfriend.
Fuck, you're right. Okay, sorry, Yui. I kept making that mistake. So she's basically the entire reason the show is happening in the first place, where she's the main villain's sister. And again, this is like the last time we had an actually human villain, too, by the way.
Oh, wait. Wow, you're right. I'm actually thinking about this.
Let me rephrase that. Last human villain who didn't have like a monster form or a rider form or anything last second. Again, technically there's Odin, but he doesn't really count because he's not actually Odin. What was I going to say? So she shows up in the first episode and she's already palling around with Ren, and we're never really told why she knows Ren already, why she's friends with him. She clearly already knows about the riders, but we never get much of their backstory together. again, we find out that she's Kanzaki's sister, and Kanzaki was doing the weird mirror world experiments, and that's how the Riders were created, and that's how Ren's girlfriend got comaed, and that's why he became a Rider. So you can assume that 2 and 2 got pieced together there. But all the mystery about the mirror world and all the experiment knowledge and stuff like that, she doesn't even really seem aware of until she stumbles on it herself. So it's never really fully explained.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, it's like there's points in the show where like she doesn't even really understand it.
Yeah, eventually she's just like, this is about me, and I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
She just wants everything to fucking stop. She's like, guys,
exactly.
Like, I don't know what's going on, but like, cut it out.
Can you cut the bullshit, please?
Can you not? Yeah, but I see. It's funny because like, she's kind of a character where I would see myself not liking, but I didn't really find her annoying. I actually kind of enjoyed her for the most part because she wasn't just like she wasn't just a caveat. She was an actual character where it's like, yeah, she has a personality. She has some wants. She has some needs, and she's she has one of my favorite episodes where, I mean, the whole random ass trying to find out who's stealing people marriage episode, which fucking what?
Fucking Inoue again,
dude. That 2 episode arc of like, oh, we got this marriage episode, and then we got the one where, oh, he proposed to me by putting an egg on my finger.
Exactly.
Oh,
I love
Megumi.
that one too because Zolda, Knight, and Ryuki, they all team up and like, okay, show of hands, who wants to team up until this bullshit's over with? And like, all right, cool. And they're still like, it basically becomes the Three Stooges but Kamen Rider version. It's hysterical.
I love it.
They're just blundering around like fucking morons.
I wanted more of that, but too much of that would have been soured.
Oh yeah, it was fine
but
it
was good for when it came in.
Yes, it's the obligatory beginning of the third act joke episode written by Inoue, which would become commonplace in this franchise.
Dark Kitchen.
Yes, literally. There's Dark Kitchen. There's the Taiyaki Master. There's the one with the fucking girl in. What show was that again? Was that Den-O or I don't remember.
No, Kiva. You're thinking of, right?
No, I'm not
he
thinking
didn't write
of Kiva
Den-O.
because Kiva was that as an entire show. No, that one was also in Blade. Never mind.
Because I don't think he wrote anything for Den-O, did he?
No, he didn't.
Not that I can think of.
Maybe Decade, I think.
No. I was trying to think of a show, but it was Blade had 2 of those different episodes. Is what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Unless
okay.
I'm. Yeah, no, because there was the one with the annoying chick who forces Kanzaki to be her girlfriend or whatever, and then there's of course the Taiyaki Master episode.
Yeah, but that episode's based as fuck.
Exactly, that one's actually good. Besides the point is that it would become the new tradition where you'd have the big final act beginning where you'd have, like with this episode, it's the one where Odin shows up and we get the he resets time, and I like that episode too because he resets time and it's basically just a recap episode, but it's not like an actual recap episode because it's Shinji going through like a Groundhog Day loop basically where he's like, wait, maybe I can change history this time, and then he fails anyways, and I like that element
because
too.
It's
where
Shinji.
He's, exactly.
Well, it's not just that. It's because like
Shinji.
his memories are technically like he remembers, but they're fading.
Like he remembers enough. He's like, wait, maybe I can call Ren and tell him not to go to this fight, and then he's like, why did I call again? You know,
and ironically, Phil, you say because it's Shinji, but he actually solves the mystery in a very clever way.
Exactly. That's the thing. He keeps putting notes all over everywhere that pisses everybody off, but it says, remember, gold feathers shoot from the back.
I mean, it's a way it's a believable way that I could see Shinji doing this.
And he MacGyvered it.
Yeah. My favorite time is when during the episode where he got arrested, which is just like a fucking random as hell episode anyways. Kitowaka comes in, he's like, listen, I know you're a Kamen Rider, I'm a Kamen Rider, this guy, Asakura, you know who he is? I know you know who he is. He's going to become a writer too. You have to stop him. You have to do this now. And Kitowaka's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but sure. And then he walks out of the room and is like, yeah, thanks for playing along, Gora. I don't know what the fuck he's smoking there.
Well, all I know is that Asakura is going to be a writer, and that's fine by me.
Yeah, which is weird because they don't really acknowledge that, where technically that is now the new timeline where he did in fact try to change history, and they never really acknowledge that, which I think is weird. I think is a missed opportunity, honestly.
I thought they were going to do more with that. Like, little things were changed around to the dynamic where it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of weird now.
Because it happens because Kanzaki gets into a fight with his sister, and he has Odin reset the entire timeline so he can not have a fight with his sister, which is entirely unnecessary, by the way, because he could have just gone back like 3 days and prevented it from happening.
Jay, he may have made the powers. He may have made the powers, but he doesn't know how to make them work. He's like, sure. I technically my time travel can do whatever it wants, but I never really learned. I kind of threw out the manual.
On that topic, why the fuck would you make a battle royale where there's a strict time limit and then give somebody a fucking time travel power? That just seems really, really pointless.
He's the only one that has the time travel power, so
I
it's a moot point. Unless somehow somebody got the strange vent card and copied it.
Again,
I guess
this is why I brought up the point earlier.
His OC Donut Steel has it, so that's fine, but it's still weird that it exists at all.
See, this is why I brought up the point earlier. If you can do this at any time, why the fuck would you want a huge ass fight? If your whole point is to keep your sister alive, just keep resetting time. That's all you need to do. Sure, it gets kind of old after a while, but if you want to keep her alive, just keep doing that.
Well, it's funny you say that, AJ.
But it brings up this good point that you could go back 1,000 times and 1,000 different ways, and yet she'll still die the same way, or she'll die 1,000 different ways.
Once again, going back to the theme of futility.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you do; it's still going to happen. Exactly. Once again, going right back to it. It's kind of interesting how do we think about it. It's funny because it kind of brought up another point. Thanks to Phil saying this and thanks to Jay saying this. Did any of you notice this? And I know maybe Jay noticed it because he was binging at the same time I was. That even though, especially with Shinji, they didn't sometimes they didn't really feel like fighting. They felt more almost hostile towards each other every once in a while. Where like, again, this is me really looking too deep into this, but I have a feeling that the way the contract monsters work and the way Kanzaki made the powers work, he knew that at some point one of these guys was not going to want to fight. So he kind of made it where they're going to have some hostility towards each other, even if it's just incremental. They have some hostility towards each other, which is why Ren said at the beginning, writers cannot coexist. I can see that. It kind of came up around. Oh God! It kind of came up around towards the end where it's like, even Shinji started seeming more hostile. Even not towards Ren, of course, but towards everybody else that was not an ally. Where it's like at first he was like, oh, I don't want anything to do with this, and now it's like he's very obviously, okay, I don't like you. I want to kick your ass. You know what I mean? It's subtle, but it's there.
I think that was more with Shinji's case. I think that was more just a overall growing desperation and him just kind of getting exasperated at it continuing. I didn't really notice that out of any of the other characters, honestly. I mean, sure, naturally there's time where they just kind of like, you know what, I feel like fighting somebody, fuck it. But I don't think there was like, I think it was very just spotty. I don't think it was like an actual thing that we were meant to assume that was happening. I can kind of get where you're going with, but I kind of don't see it, honestly.
I think it was just because like the way I was watching, I was just shotgunning it. So it's like there were times where they just seemed more like unnaturally hostile to each other, like not unnatural, like out of character. Like obviously Ren is a hostile person to begin with, but there was times where even he seemed like, no, I don't want to kick your ass right now. You know what I mean? Like it feels like that, and I don't know if that's the thing that they put in there on purpose. I don't know.
I don't think so, personally.
Well, you're wrong. I'm just kidding.
Of
So,
course I am. So, I think we said enough about Eri. I keep doing it. Yui.
Oh, you're Yui.
Yes, I know. Fuck.
it's the fact that it's 3 letters.
Exactly. And also that one of them is actually important and one isn't, but they keep saying their names all the time. So I think we said a lot about her, where I like her arc, where she kind of, again, we find out that this entire thing is about her. She's alive, but not really, and he's doing it because he wants her to be alive. And it's like, I like that as an idea, and even she's just like, I don't want this shit. What the fuck are you doing? Just let me die. God damn it.
Oh, hi, wizard.
Exactly. But see, it's fine.
Oh,
It's
God.
fine here because it's the villain
Wizard.
doing it and not the heroes. Even though the heroes are kind of like, well, yeah, I don't want her to die as well because, again, that was the whole plot of the alternatives, is that if we just kill her right here and now, well, that's it. You know, this is over. There's no reason to finish the game because the prize is over. It's been destroyed. There's no more prize. I like that idea, and that's kind of where the do you kill one person to save the whole world, or do you do nothing and let millions of people die? And I really like that element to the plot, and it's interesting, but they don't really elaborate it on too much after the alternatives bite the dust.
I mean, I do like the idea because, like, and see, I get it because, like, Shinji is supposed to be the big hero. I have a feeling that they almost made it that way on purpose, where you're almost supposed to not want to root for Shinji because you're like, as logically, you're like, well, she's dying anyways, just kill her. You save
Well, I mean,
everybody.
of course, we don't find out that until like right near the end, anyways. But
True, but I'm saying this in the terms of hindsight, where it's like you're at like episode 49, and you're just like, well, she's gonna die. You could have just killed her and saved all the. I think it's the point where like you're thinking to yourself like, you probably should have just done it in the end.
I'm sure where if this is somebody that you had known for an entire year, even if you know that this would solve everything, you're not going to want to do it. Which again was kind of
Sorry, Phil.
kind of
Turn around and just count the rabbits.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole point of Shinji's conflict with the alternatives, is that, like, okay, yes, doing this would save the world, but either way, she is still like a real person. She is still my friend. I don't want to do it, no matter how much it's going to solve everything. And that's kind of the dilemma there, and I liked that. And then of course she's just like, listen, just fucking kill me at this point, because I'm sick of this dumb fucking Highlander bullshit. I want it to end too. Just kill me or do whatever. And I liked that. Like, the acceptance of just the inevitability of her death anyways. And it's really interesting, and her actor really does it well.
Oh, excuse me. No, but yeah, like I do like that. I like that theme of, like, because towards the end, it's like you said, she was like, "Oh, just dude, I'm gonna die. Just do it. Fuck it.
Just let
Might as
me
well
die
If it's
in
gonna
peace.
stop this, just let me fucking die."
Exactly.
I mean, dude, she was about to fucking jump off a
I
building.
mean, yeah, she tries to kill herself like at least 3 different times after she finds out. She does it in the movie too.
a little dramatic, sure, but
you
It's
know,
a little over dramatic, but okay.
It does the job well.
look, lady, if you want to kill yourself, I mean, it's down the street, okay? You don't need to jump off. You don't need to jump off a fucking building. There's people working down there. Jesus.
I mean, it was fine. That was in the mirror world, so nobody's gonna get.
Oh
hurt.
wait, what?
That was in the mirror world, so only the mirror people were gonna get hurt, and they're all
Could you
evil.
imagine? Because like there's like a mirror down there. It's like a fucking portal gun. Vroom, vroom. That'd be the funniest shit.
God, imagine being there in the real world, just kind of like idly looking in the window, and you just see somebody hit the ground, and you turn around and there's nobody there. That would fuck you up for life.
Dude, that'd be hilarious, dude. Or like there's like a mirror on the ground, and she falls down. She falls back up, and like you're
And
just seeing this chick like 20 feet in the air go right back into the mirror, and you're just like, fuck. So like you move them and like you move the mirror like just like to lean on the fucking wall. She comes back through the mirror and she gets hit by a fucking car.
Oh.
I don't know why I'm thinking this, but like now I'm just like thinking of like different wacky ways for her to die. I'm gonna cut my arm off with this piece of glass. It's just like her arm just goes into the
And
mirror
her
world.
arm just goes through the mirror world. Honestly, I wish they kind of. This would have been really kind of fucked up even for this show. I wish they kind of did like a montage of her trying to kill herself. And it's just like mirror monsters just keep showing up.
So it's like Happy Death Day 2?
Yeah.
She just tries to kill herself in wacky different ways.
Yeah.
And there's like, and at every turn, the monster just brings her back into the mirror world somehow.
Pretty much.
Oh, dude, you know what's kind of weird? I thought someone was gonna do this because again, I haven't seen this in over a decade. But I swear, why didn't nobody use the reflection of someone's eye at one point?
That actually would have been interesting.
It would have been it would have been weird, yes, but like that kind of I'm like, yo, that would have been an interesting thing. It's like it's a reflection, obviously. So I mean, I guess it would have been too
question.
wacky, but still.
I think it's more of an issue of practicality where actually filming that would not have worked at all. Granted, there's no reason why it wouldn't have worked, but I think that would have been an interesting like sight element.
I mean, dude, they did a lot of interesting weird camera cuts in this show.
Oh yes.
Legitimately, the cinematography in this show is really experimental and really cool.
The fact that there was only one single time I ever saw a camera person in the reflection, and that was a reflection of somebody's suit, it is astounding.
Right? And see, I mean, hey, I mean, who knows? Maybe that camera person's in the mirror world.
Maybe. I don't know, yeah.
Actually, I will say this.
Mirror people clearly exist.
I will say this. I will say this. I do like the semi-sloppiness of this show. And I know, Jay, you have an eye for this.
Oh my God.
There was times where like you could see someone in the scene that was not supposed to be there, or there's a suit somewhere off in the distance, but it's not.
Oh, it's
like,
Jeans Man.
Like, why are you there?
Like you can see where they fucked up the compositing of the green screen, or you
yeah,
can see like they fucking reuse Knight Survives motorcycle transformation every single fucking time. It is just they just reinsert the shot on the green screen. And it's so noticeably the same exact shot. It's almost laughable, and they do it too with Ryuki's where he does the finishing move, and at one point they just use the same footage from the last episode because the background changes and everything, and like the size and like the sizing and the compositing is all wrong, and just there's a lot of. The effects are really great, but there's also just like a sloppiness to it as well that is just it's so noticeable at points. It's almost...
One of my favorites is and I think I posted this where it's like it's the kid who wants to be a Kamen Rider. He runs out after stealing Shinji's deck, and you can clearly see Shinji is not running after him in the hallway, but they fucked up and they didn't film the hallway out of the screen, so you see him on his mark. And then he just starts running and yelling out of nowhere. It's like, what the fuck? It's hilarious.
There's just enough of those flubs where it makes the effects... It honestly makes the effects that much greater where you can still... This is clearly is not just like some people in like a machine shop churning out CGI. This is real effects that they're actually doing with real cameras and practical props and everything. For the most part, of course. And that's really what I like about this show is the practical effects are still really great. The suits are great. I love all the mirror monster suits too. The rider suits are great where they've got these really like overly symmetrical designs, and it's so gorgeous looking. Like
they're kind of like knights in a sense.
Well,
yeah.
Jay, of course they're symmetrical because they need to be a perfect reflection.
Well, exactly. And speaking of reflection too, where you've got like the environment, like the environment's reflected too, and like you could easily like half-ass it where like you shoot in an environment where you can't really, well, you don't really need to tell, but like, or like they only do like they'll put a sign in just like on the ground and it's like the text is in reverse and that's the most they do. No, they go the whole mile. Like text on the wall they'll have reversed, like signs they'll have reversed, they'll have shit far in the distance that you wouldn't even notice for like a split second, have that reversed. And the entire time I was watching the show, I was trying to figure out how the fuck they did it, because it's like okay, shots in the background, that makes sense, they could probably just do that in post. But then you look at it, it's like it's clearly not the entire environment mirrored, it's just the text that's mirrored too. But then you do shit like, you have shit that's like painted onto concrete, or like physical signs that you could not be able to swap out with, like you have the actors interacting in front of it. And you have that,
and it's obviously not just like them doing a flip shot on fucking editing software or something.
Exactly too. And that's the thing as well, is that like I wasn't sure if like that's why they made the suit symmetrical, like they filmed it with like all the props reversed and then they had that reversed that way. But it's so good, and like the only time I ever really noticed that like they clearly put something in post was in the movie, where it's like you could tell that they flipped around a sign in post because the lighting of like where the text is different than the rest of the sign. But even then I wasn't sure if that was just like, okay, they put up like a decal there and the decal was a different material than the rest of the sign, or oh, it was just an editing flub or something like that. It's so well done, and I was like the entire time I was trying to figure out how they did it. It's honestly it's so extra, and it was so unnecessary that it's just one of those extra little details that you don't really appreciate.
Exactly. It's one of those weird like little like extra mile things that these shows go that like in hindsight it's like, wow, you guys really didn't need to do this much.
Absolutely.
I think I like it the most because it's like you can tell they even made them almost swap the way they fight too, where it's like, oh wow, they're not fighting with their dominant hands, or at least in the real world's dominant hands.
Yeah, Ouja's fighting with his left hand. I kept thinking that the suit actor might have been a left-handed left-handed fighter.
It's
Jiro Okamoto, so he's just really good at that. And that's one of the things I like too, is that like it left me genuinely guessing how they filmed the scenes and everything, because again, they have the actual environments of the locations not mirrored or anything like that, because there are elements that are asymmetrical in the design that look the same as how they look in any other Rider show. Like they'll reuse that one like brick fountain and it looks exactly the same as how it did in Agito or Faiz or anything like that. And there's clearly elements that you could not artificially flip and post and stuff like that. I mean, technically you could. You get what I'm trying to say.
You could, but it would look weird.
Exactly. Like there's asymmetrical elements where this couldn't have been flipped in post, but everything else is still flipped and everything like that. But it's clearly
it goes back to what you were saying about the symmetrical suit designs, because it's like, well, of course they have to be symmetrical, because if they were any like if you had Saber in this show, it would look fucking weird, because it's like, okay, you can obviously tell that they're flipped, but in this one it's like, oh, okay. It just looks natural. With Saber or with anybody that is, asymmetrical, it would look unnatural.
Yeah. And then again, there's still the usual like flubs, like, okay, here is a bad cut where you can tell there's a jump cut, or like you can see where they had the spark bags on the suits, and like you can see where the spark effects on like a sword, when it hits somebody, they go off before the sword even hits. And
yeah,
I think the most noticeable was when Raya died, where you can see that like parts of his costume are clearly held together with tape. And it's like, at least it's not like with in the Drive movie where they just used fucking clear masking tape on the sword and it's super noticeable. Like, they at least tried to find tape that looked the same color as the rest of the suit, but it's still super noticeably taped because they didn't do a very good job and it's all bunched up and everything.
Oh, but it's like you said, like just the couple of little flubs we have here, they're enough to make it be like charming, and also when they don't fuck up, even more impressive.
Exactly.
And I love it.
It's that charming amateurish that you get, which is what is clearly not a very high production, but it's clearly like a professional production where we know what we're doing, but we just don't have enough money to really do it perfectly. And there's that charming that makes the flaws that much more enjoyable, honestly.
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it's dated, and yes, it's not that great, but I didn't think the CGI looked that awful.
The CGI is spotty, where there's clearly points where this does not look very good. Like a lot of the later scenes with like the contract beasts and the finishers and stuff look like when Darkwing does the fucking wind tunnel attack. That looks really shitty because it's like it's growing.
The gust vent.
Yeah.
But then you have like again the scene we mentioned earlier where you have Ouja and Ryuki facing off with Drag Rider and Venosnaker, and they look really great. I mean, clearly it is. It's not very high quality CG, but there's the movements feel natural, and they're not like they're highly detailed enough where they don't look like complete shit, but they're still clearly like this is still 2002 exactly. Yeah. Like the lighting looks good. It's not like that kind of early CG where like they didn't give a shit about trying to do artificial lighting, so they just
they don't give a shit about that now.
Well, they don't
That
give a
was
shit about that
something I was
now.
asking earlier. I meant to ask earlier with Yui and stuff. Why is it that when she finally snapped, she mentioned those two? Why did she mention those two, but never would elaborate on?
Whatever. I guess that's the ones because she mentions. I don't remember which other one she mentioned, but she just like names a bunch and whatever. It's not important.
Yeah. But it was like you said, like obviously not beautiful 2021 CG and all this shit, but just the fact that they went through the lighting and the shadowing, it goes the extra mile. Like just the lighting itself goes the extra mile, where it's like it still looks very good. Like not great, but for the time and for the budget, I gotta applaud them for that. Like it looks nice. And like you said, yeah, there's dodginess, but there's also times of like, wow, you guys did not have to do it. Did it go this far for this? And it's great. I liked it a lot.
Oh no. So
let's see.
Quick lightning round on the rest of the cast because none of them are really worth talking about. There's Yui and Kanzaki's aunt who runs the obligatory writer hangout. The cafe.
You know what? I'll say this. Maybe it's just me, but they did get somebody who looked like she could be related to them.
Yeah,
it wasn't just some random person where you're just like, where? Where? But yeah, so she was fun.
She was.
She
fun.
kind of annoyed me sometimes.
A little bit. She's the obligatory wacky old person that, honestly, I made a joke about this, but the initial setup of you have our writer and his antagonistic rival / partner living together and working part-time in a cafe run by an eccentric old lady with too much money. I'm like, gee, I could really tell Kobayashi wrote this because this is literally the same setup as O's.
Right?
I mean, she's not nearly as wacky as what the fuck was her name from O's? I don't remember.
Don't worry, nobody remembers.
She wasn't that important anyways. But she's not like completely irrelevant. She actually has an impact on the plot because because she's related to our main protagonist more or less. She actually has insight on what happens, and it's really interesting too. I think I love the joke of like once things reach the final act and everybody's too busy for like hanging around shenanigans and it's just all plot all the time, all fights all the time. She's just getting pissed off about it. I'm like, where the fuck are you people? I have hired you for a reason. What the fuck is wrong with you? I hate this. I hate you all. I love it because she's like,
you're all useless.
She when there was like an entire crowd of people in there who didn't speak Japanese, and she asked them to like help, and they leave. She just finally snaps, and she's like, "Fuck it! I can't deal with this shit."
I loved it because there's like they'll just run out, and she'll be like, "Hey guys, wait, I want to talk." Okay, fuck you. I love that. I love
guys.
That
it's rush hour. Where are you going?
Like what?
I'm 74. I can't do this.
Kid-Waka's trapped in the three-ring circus.
Like
Let's
60.
go, Shinji. It's like, but guys, you were on shift until 4. I loved it.
Wouldn't that be the life, just to leave your shift whenever you want?
I know, right?
So
Ren clearly has the money to do it, and Shinji's an idiot. So
as you were saying, so the miscellaneous character, Ora Joyner, quick lightning out, Reiko, You know what's weird? looking at her, every single time I saw her when she got her hair cut shorter, I'm not gonna lie, she looked like somebody from a J-rock band, like a dude from a J-rock band. Not saying she's ugly, but it's the haircut. So there she actually she kind of has a bit of an important role, kind of.
I like that element too, where basically purely by happenstance, the Ori Journal crew happen to stumble upon the mystery of the mirror world and the writers, and they start trying to solve it, and it's like, it clearly stems from them just to be like, well, we're chasing the high of Asakura, this escaped criminal. You know, he broke out of jail like 3 different times in the span of a month. And clearly we're going to follow this. And then it's just like, wait a second, how the fuck did he even break out of jail the first time? And they're going through and they see Shiro Kazaki in the reflection of like a mirror or whatever, and they're like, what the fuck is that? And they're just like, they go on from there, and they kind of just discover the whole world of the Kamen Riders and everything completely by accident too.
But see, the coolest thing is they were pretty much following the disappearances from day one.
Pretty much.
Episode 1, they were on these disappearances. It kind of went by the wayside, sure, but they were still like, maybe we should look into that a little bit more.
And I like that element too, because it acknowledges something that a lot of later shows don't really, where you have the monsters operating in secret and the heroes operating in secret, and the monsters just kill somebody and that person's just gone without a trace, and nobody ever really, the ever-growing body count of civilians that just disappears, never acknowledged in these shows. And that actually ends up setting up the plot where they investigate it early on, and then it ends up coming back later where they're like, wait a second. So these people disappeared without a trace at all, and here we have this criminal disappearing without a trace at all. And there's this weird shit with mirrors, and all of them were around mirrors, and oh my god, there's a mirror world and there's monsters.
It's red herring.
It's actually really interesting how they get to the conclusion stuff, especially with her name's Megami, right? Yeah. So
yes.
when they use
Reiko, you're thinking.
No, he's talking about
Megumi.
Kitawaka's girlfriend. No.
Oh, Megumi, yeah. Oh, she's annoying.
I
hate her.
like how Reiko comes to the conclusion of, wait, fucking mirrors with Megumi with her little funny magician shit.
She sees Shinji jump into the mirror, and she thinks he was doing a magic trick, and she does a shitty magic trick for them, and it's like, wait, mirrors, of course that's right. It's like one of those fucking like Batman deduction things where he just like somebody says something completely random and that solves the case for Batman. It's
waffles.
It's
of course.
Great. Waffles. That's right. Waffles are shaped like a grid. A grid, like the city power grid. I've got it, Robin. The Riddler is going to sabotage the city power plant.
Literally, that's how it is.
Are we talking 1960s Batman?
Yes, clearly I'm talking 1960s Batman.
He's talking about the only good Batman.
Yes. There are a lot of good Batman aside from Adam West Batman.
I'm talking about the only Batman I care about.
Exactly. Anyways, so I like that. You know what? Even though I kind of got annoyed that they were still doing jokey shit towards the end, even though they did kind of get serious towards the end as well, I liked all the people in Ore Giorno. I like the chief. The chief is just a wacky jackass.
The chief is the best because he's just constantly fed up with everybody's bullshit, and he's just kind of like, whatever. I don't really care. You're making me money.
Then he hires Megumi, who he definitely was sleeping with.
I don't think so. I don't
He
think
doesn't
she's
come off
smart
like
enough.
No.
He's
you're right.
He's clearly.
Is this the way she had her arms around his arm? That's usually a very, from what I've looked up in Japan, that's usually something you do with somebody you're very close and very affectionate with.
If it's Megumi is a. They said it.
She's an
themselves.
idiot.
She's very flirtatious.
She's dumber than Shinji is.
That's basically brain dead.
Exactly. But
Shimada is fantastic. You have to say this. Shimada is fantastic.
I loved him. He was so great.
Shimada's a girl.
Oh, I fucking forgot. Oh, you mean
glasses.
You mean smart
the hacker.
lady? Yeah, smart brain lady. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. You're right.
That's her?
Yes.
That's her?
Yes, that is.
I knew she looked familiar because I was just like, where have I seen those cheeks before? Oh my god.
She really does look different when she. Wow,
That's actually
It's
pretty
the hair.
impressive.
It's the hair and the glasses, definitely.
I love it how in episode final she's making herself look nice because, okay, I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm pretty sure she has a thing for Shinji. She always has. She shows signs of it. And then an editor-in-chief just looks at her when she's trying to put contacts in. And I think he's like, holy shit, she's actually hot.
You're a regular Sherlock Holmes, Phil.
She's kind of irrelevant. She's out of the rest of them. She's the one who really does the least. She kind of helps where she accidentally photographs a mirror monster, and that kind of gets them more onto that's what gets them onto the actual trail of, oh my god, there's shit going on with the mirror.
Jay, you have to put it in its proper context. She accidentally takes a picture of a mirror monster while she's taking a picture of her pet iguana, which she is walking on a leash.
I was about to say, which is the pet iguana, which I might add was never seen before or after this point.
No, she brought him in.
Yeah, sure.
Earlier in the series, she had him. Foreshadowing, Jay. Foreshadowing.
I completely forgot. But in terms of her actual role, she's the least useful, not counting Megami, who doesn't count because she barely exists. I liked her. She was fine, but she was just there. She just filled space.
And that's pretty much it for them.
That's basically it for the sidecast. There wasn't really anybody else important.
That's everybody.
Because we are, yeah.
I mean, where do we go from there?
That's it for the show, basically.
Guess we can get right to the ending, because the ending is like, holy shit, dude. It's like, holy shit, dude. So, First off, our main writer fucking bites it.
Yeah, that's kind of a first for Ryder at that point, where the main guy actually fucking dies before the show even ends.
He just and not only does he die, he doesn't even die to a writer.
He dies to a fucking monster.
Yeah. It's so good. It's such a great ending too, because for one, it establishes again that Knight is technically the real main character, but two, it kind of finally motivates him to kind of give up to finally just not necessarily give up, but it gives him the motivation to let go of his douchebag facade and finally actually decide to end things and make the world better. And it's kind of implied that because he wishes for his girlfriend to be alive, but then the world resets anyway, so it leaves it vague whether it's Kanzaki just resetting everything anyways because he's a dick and didn't want to lose, or whether that's he changed his mind and he just wished for everybody to be happy, kind of thing like that. And it's left vague there too, and I like that idea as well, where we get the new timeline where everybody's alive again and everybody's happy and everybody's not like we see Asakura running around and he's not like an escaped fugitive. I mean, he's still a douchebag, but he's not like
he's not a murderous douchebag.
Exactly. He wrecks Shinji's bike, but that's about it. That's the farthest he goes.
And see, I'll say it right now, I love the ending because it's such a weird, and again, it goes back to that same feeling of just, yeah, you win, but there's a weird feeling of just emptiness of like, what did you do? What did you do to accomplish this win? What did you do to accomplish this all?
And
where it's
didn't
like,
Ren die?
Wow. Yeah, he did die.
Yeah, I kind of figured, I thought that he would have died because of the way he was acting. Like, he was laying there, and it's like he's not waking up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's this weird thing of, and again, this is why I love this, and I know we'll get to the reason why it was changed, but I love this ending because it's just, it feels, of course, it feels very different for Ryder to be so fucking depressing, but it's like a show where it's like, well, yeah, it makes sense that it ended this way. No shit. It was a legit war where there were just awful people, and then you have this one guy who tried to be awful, but in the end he was like, I'm not a bad dude. I want everyone to be happy, and he died trying to get it. And I was like, shit, man.
Yeah.
And then like when you see the ending, it's just like it's not even like a happy ending. It's like a bittersweet ending because it's like, yeah, everyone's alive. Yeah, whoa, whatever. But like everything that you took to get here is like shit, man. Like fuck. Like,
and it makes the it's weird because even though again the ending resets everything and everybody's alive again, it doesn't make what happened any more futile. You know, it doesn't make Asakura's death, or it doesn't make Kiruaka's death or anybody else's deaths, you know, less meaningful. It's kind of a everybody wins kind of ending where sure they still fought and they still died, but they still inevitably get their own happy ending.
Yeah, but you also feel like it's not like a true happy ending where like this is all fake in a way. Like this is not the way it was supposed to happen. You're all supposed to be dead, and it's like Jesus, dude. Like, fucking no way, he didn't have to do that. Fucking
That's no
Jesus.
way.
Like it really did. Maybe it's because I watched it in such a quick succession, but that really did hit me like a truck when I saw that. I was like, "Ooh, okay, that's a fucking ending." Fuck.
Oh yeah.
So now about episode final. So, episode final. Sucks.
I actually like episode final.
It ruins the theme of the show.
I
It
think
does.
it gives it a... Okay, hear me out. I think it gives a better... it gives a more concise plot and ending to the... a concise ending to the actual series. And I actually do like the introduction of the new characters. I really do.
But what more concise do you need than Ren 1?
Okay, you want me to be honest? I don't like that the ending I don't mind that Ren won. I don't mind that at all. What I don't like is the resetting of everything. I don't, because then that basically means that everything that was done throughout the entire show, all that character growth, all that plot progression, all the entire year meant nothing except for Yui and Kanzaki not actually existing at this point.
But as we said earlier, and Jay even mentioned it himself, the resetting does not, in thematic terms, it does not make everything seem pointless, because we know what it took to get here. It seems pointless, but at the same time that sticks with the theme of futility. The entire show was a futile effort from the beginning, because Kanzaki wanted to keep his sister from dying, but she was always going to die. Literally everybody in this show who wanted something, it was a futile effort. The only two people, ironically, who got anything close to what they wanted was Tiger and Ren. Because Tiger was then called a hero at the end. And Ren, well, he won. And with episode final, nobody really wins. It's just, it's basically a cliffhanger for a
it is
movie
literally
we
a
never
cliffhanger
get.
because it ends with there are still riders alive. We ran out of time.
No,
so
most
now
of them are dead except for Ren and Shinji.
Exactly. So it's just, here's a rocks fall, everybody dies scenario. We're gonna go fight the big swarm of monsters. The end. No, we're never gonna resolve this cliffhanger.
It's kind of like a really shitty version of Blade's ending, because these two are still alive, so eventually they have to fight.
I like the idea because it sets up that. Here's the problem is that episode final is quote unquote the canon ending, even though it's not really at all. That's kind of a misconception. The only people that really say that is well, it's Toei that says it, so that's fair that it's considered that. But for starters, it came out way before. Like episode, I think it came out
as a summer movie.
It was the summer movie, so it came out around episode 30. So it's so far before the point when the show actually was going to end that it can't really be an alternate ending, because it's the same problem with Missing Ace, where this would work as an alternate ending only at this point at all, even though it cannot exist at this point at all.
I mean, apparently the movie's supposed to happen after episode 46.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. Because
it's supposed to be a retelling of the last few episodes, basically.
Even though
you got the last few episodes and then replace them with episode final, and you've got the ending.
Yeah.
Even though it happened before the ending of the show even was written.
And it doesn't make sense considering Femme was never formally introduced beforehand. She's only just vaguely just put in there as though she's already been there.
Yeah,
pretty much. And that's kind of the problem too, is that because it's kind of considered the actual ending of the show, it makes the reset just seem pointless, because it makes you think that, oh, this is just going to happen again, which is technically true, but that's, we'll get to that in a second. Because it makes the movie just feel like thematically weak, because you're following along a point where the show has not actually reached this point yet. So here we are at the finale, except it's not the finale, and we just kind of have to speed along the rest of the plot progression. And I like the idea, because they do the thing where Yui just, decides, fuck it, I'm going to just kill myself, but actually does kill herself, so everything just kind of becomes pointless. Yeah. But again, it leads into the thing of, well, I'm just going to do rocks fall, everybody dies, fuck it, and then restart the timeline again, because he can just do that.
I think the only reason they actually consider that as the true ending is because at the beginning of... Did you guys watch the director's cut or the regular cut?
I watched the director's cut.
I was going to watch the director's cut. I did not have time to do it. I'm planning on doing it at some.
It's an hour and 37 minutes.
I watched the director's cut, and at the beginning, they show all the cards and which ones are dead and which ones are alive. That one actually implies, okay, all 13 have been in this timeline. So that's, I think, the only reason why they that, at least for me, that's the only reason why they think it's canon.
But see, at that point, for me, at this point for me, because I know Toei considers it the canon ending, but I almost want to see episode final as Missing Ace, where it's nice, but it's an alternate timeline. Because again, like I said before, on the thematic sense, it makes no sense, because it literally does what you were talking about with the reset. It makes it feel pointless. Oh, congratulations, we're going to just have a cliffhanger because rocks fall, everyone dies.
And here's the thing, if it wasn't considered to be the true final ending, I think it would be fine. If it was just, here's an alternate ending to the show where these characters don't exist, so this plot progression doesn't happen, so this ends up being the final result, where it's kind of like an alternate ending in like a role-playing game where you didn't talk to this character, or you failed this quest line instead of this one, and so because of this you get branching path C or whatever.
That's what they did with 13 Riders.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Or what if the time vent that Odin did actually split the timeline?
I mean, at that point, we're really thinking high concept there, because I don't think they thought that far ahead.
Well,
but it could be, but it's possible.
See, it's an idea, but they never really established that, because Odin's not even in the movie.
That's right.
That is also true.
Which is weird, because they set up that Odin is going to be in the movie, and then Odin is just not in the movie at all, which is so weird.
The big bad of that movie is Ryuga,
which is the dumbest fucking thing.
And that raises a lot of questions, because again, the idea of mirror people already existed in the show with Yui proper. So here we have Dark Shinji, who is a writer in his own right because of reasons.
Which makes no sense in a way, because then does that mean there are 13 Shadow Riders? In which case, then does that mean they're doing the Rider War in their world too?
Clearly not,
raises
because
a lot of questions. But I actually don't
that's
mind
why I'm
the
saying,
concept
dude.
of
But
him.
see, that's
I don't mind the concept.
But see, that's why I'm saying that it brings
up
up too many questions that this show is never going to answer.
No.
One thing I would like to say to get out of I'll get this out of the way. I am not a very big fan of Ryuki's suit. Mostly his helmet, because of the lenses. They're too bulgy. They kind of wreck the... I get that they're symmetrical, but they kind of wreck the aesthetic for me. When they took that away with Ryuga's suit, and I fucking love that. It feels a lot more streamlined. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
I mean that's fine that you like the suit. It's like Jay said, thematically, it just doesn't work.
If it was like, okay, shit, the reason why Ryuga is there and nobody else has a Shadow Rider is because Shinji is kind of like this special case where he's like a link to it, and because essentially Ryuga
but now you're
is
bringing
a
up
dark,
more questions.
Yeah, exactly. Because Ryuga might be like the dark reflection of Ryuki, but again, you're bringing up more questions than I actually thought. My God, maybe episode final wasn't as good as I thought.
I told you, dude, because when you really think about it, oh God, Jay, don't do that. Don't do that. That's cursed.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what?
That's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
Photoshop that over the actual night, the fucking thumbnail. No, but like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Knight has eyes under there. Wait, is that really cursed? That picture?
No,
Yes.
it's just where his eyes are glowing, so where you can actually see it. It's
don't
weird.
all the writers have eyes under their visors? Technically,
I think they do, but we never see
But
them.
okay,
you
but
can
seriously,
only
going
ever
back
see
to this,
them.
because again, and that's the reason we're not talking about 13 final for anybody listening, because 13 final, Jesus, fuck.
13 final,
13
Jesus.
writers,
What is
because
this-
that one
what
is
is this,
literally
Final
not
Fantasy?
canon. So
Yeah.
like this one, it's like, like Jay said, if it wasn't the fact that it was canon, I legitimately would have no problem with this because I could just ignore it. But it's the fact that it is now, quote unquote, the canon ending to the canon ending that we have now, which is writer time. Which, you know what? Let's talk about, because we talked about it during our.
Wait, Rider Time is now canon?
Yeah, it always has been.
Yeah.
So how does that even work?
Don't ask.
So then is Abyss? Abyss isn't even real. How I know
Listen-
that. Okay, I
listen,
know why
let
Abyss is
let
there.
Jay explain.
Because
Let
Fem
Jay
wasn't
explain.
allowed to be there. Because Fem wasn't in.
Phil. Written by Toshiki Inoue.
Okay, that is
Beautiful.
Okay.
Well, okay.
So
like let's
So
a legitimate
I
explanation.
have not. So I have not actually seen Rider Time yet, so I cannot
I
comment
have,
on
though.
how that's made canon. Technically, it's considered canon, but what I've been playing with the time loops where you have episode final being an alternate timeline and everything like that. So we need to very briefly talk about the very, very cursed Ryuki book, which I've read snippets of. It's exactly as weird as you think it is.
I want to read it.
Including, but not limited to, Ouja literally eating shit to survive as an infant, and then as an infant killing his mother somehow, which is never explained, by the way. He kills his mom as like a 1-year-old, and they
He's
never
like
explain
he's like a
it.
chest burster. He just pops out of the womb.
Exactly. Among other really, really weird, fucked up things that is, it's commonplace. What the book establishes is that the show is just one of many alternate loops, because apparently it's explained that at one point in the past, Ouja won the fight and he got his wish of, I just want the fight to keep going over and over again. So it just even though, it's a happy, nice ending and everybody gets home, everybody's home safe and sound, it's just going to keep happening again and again and again and again and again. And you can kind of take it as the show being the final loop because it ends, it's kind of him conceding defeat and stopping the loop of the Rider War. But even then the book is like, actually, no, that wasn't the last one, because it kept going on and on and on forever and ever until we, just kill me and break the cycle, basically. And granted, I didn't read all of the books, so I don't know how they resolve that, but technically speaking...
It's probably sex.
Probably. Technically speaking, both the show, the 13 Riders, the movie, and the new one, they're all just multiple alternate loops, and I don't know how exactly it fits together, but it's this idea of just like there is multiple loops to this, so who knows where the fuck the actual ending is at this point? Who even can comprehend other than Inoue, because Inoue is an insane man. He's a fucking crackhead, by the way. Not literally, of course, but he writes like he's a crackhead.
So, like Hideo Kojima.
Pretty much, except not nearly as overrated. And I like Kojima. No offense. No offense.
Wait, you don't like Kojima?
I do. I do like him.
But he is overrated.
He's definitely overrated. Besides the point.
Wow,
So
wow, Jay, you really got the ire of the sons of Kojima now.
Good.
Oh, fuck them. Who cares?
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
exist anymore.
Fuck you, Young.
So the point I'm making here is that trying to argue or trying to figure out what the hell the canon ending is doesn't even really matter, because even in Inoue's own words, and the book is kind of pseudo canon, but again, nobody really talks about it. It's not going to matter because it's just never going to end at this point. So who even knows? Who even cares? It doesn't even matter. Again, I still need to watch Rider Time, so I don't know how that resolves that.
It's
But
almost like it goes back to the fact that it's all feudal.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
Again, that's
Except for
what I
place-
that's why I keep saying this entire show is about futility. The theme of the show is you can keep trying, but it doesn't matter. It's kind of fucked up. Now, Jay, I have to ask you this so we can confirm and deny because you're the one who would know this the most.
Mm-hmm.
How actually mad were people at the ending when it aired? Because everyone always tries to say the misconception, or at least I assume the misconception that parents hated the ending.
That's a good question because I honestly don't know. Again, where the movie is quoted as being the final ending, but came out way before the actual end of the show.
Exactly.
I really can't say. I don't know. I mean, Ryuki's not exactly the most popular show. I mean, it sold like a couple $1 billion, but in terms of actual popularity, it's fairly low on the list. But I mean, it reviewed pretty well. Not reviewed, but I mean, ratings wise, it did pretty good. But it's not nearly as popular with the Japanese audiences. So who exactly even can say?
Because everyone always says that, and I'm guilty of this as well when I was younger, saying that like, oh, they had to change the ending, obviously, but like, there really is no evidence of that because one, Ryuki still fucking dies, and then Knight still fucking dies, and the whole thing is just a depressing mess. It's basically Melancholia with a bittersweet ending, and then you know, it can't be 13 Riders because that came out way before, and it can't be episode final because that came out way before. So,
and freaking Kitaoka dying on his couch, and Reiko waiting to go on the date with him.
and then Asakura going out like an actual fucking Chad.
Yeah.
He gets shot.
Yeah.
He gets gunned down by the cops, and
well, unless you're episode final and he gets his ass handed to him by Ryuga, and then Fem basically just
fucking steals his kill. What a bitch.
I mean, you know what? Ouja's a kill stealer too, so it's fine. He got what he deserved.
Oh, but see, I like Ouja.
Exactly.
So
see,
it's
that's the thing is that
should we get Fem out of the way?
No, because she doesn't.
Oh, okay. You know what?
Sucks.
Let me describe Fem. She's white. She's a female, and she's a Kamen Rider. That's the end of it.
And she really steals and has no dignity.
She actually does steal and has no dignity.
Can I actually say something?
Stop tricking
No, shut up! Shut up!
Phil, I get it. I get it. You know, the tight leather, you know, the chest plate. I get it. You know.
No.
But see, sometimes a rapier is just a rapier.
AJ, please stop. Okay, so there's if there's one thing I actually really do enjoy from episode final, it's the dialogue between Miho, who's Fem, and Shinji. I love they actually do act like an old married couple, and it's really cute. I wanted to see, that's why I'm saying I really wish she was a part of the main cast, like from the main show, and that could have been elaborated on. And that's also why I want to read the book too. I want to see where that goes.
You don't want to know.
I know where it goes. I know where it goes,
no,
but
you really
I do know where it goes. Why? What happens?
Don't worry about it. Anyways. Look,
but but you get what
okay.
You get what I'm saying. I like the dialogue between them. I think that they're a very nice pairing. Okay, that's all I was trying to say. You sicko pervert.
Wow,
Okay,
pot meat kettle in it. Anyways,
yeah, right.
Jeez. Anyways, but like, I mean, in terms of her being in the show, I mean, where would she even fit, dude? Like, I mean, shit, they couldn't even fit Emperor in there. Like, think about that.
Barely. You could
take
sub
out
her out.
Take out. Sorry, go on.
You
Jay.
could sub her out with one of the other writers, but who knows? Who gives a shit?
I'll be honest. That's the thing. It would have been pretty good. That's one thing I liked about episode final. It kept it to 6 riders. If they had like cut it down and limited it to like a couple of riders, it probably would have been better.
Well.
A little more character development.
Yeah, well, the movie sucks, son. Nobody cares. So, fuck it.
Okay, take out Emperor, take out Tiger, and give a couple episodes to Fem, and you're good.
So before we get to our final thoughts, I actually just want to mention a couple more themes that I saw here, and then one of the biggest one is the obvious one, is that even though it's like a writer war, they very much emphasized the importance of taking an actual life, to the point where both of our main writers have a mental breakdown when they kill somebody, or they think they've killed somebody, like. Ryuki, like Shinji, goes into a depressive state, like, oh my god, I actually killed someone, and
to the point where he would let his own dragon try to eat him.
And Ren, I mean, shit, dude, like that guy just went fucking just down a hole, which I like.
Oh yeah,
I like that because there are certain shows that try and do the whole, not even writer war, just writers against each other. They kind of just kill. They kind of just kill, you know? Even when Koto is like, oh my god, the Invis are people, you know, even when that happens, he still kind of just gets fucked by Mai and just forgets about it. By the way, anyone who's listening, know that literally happens. He gets his dick sucked, and that's fine, and he's fine by it. Like,
he has the sex jacket and everything.
He has the sex hair.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, Goro even tells him. Anyways, but like in this show, they very much put the importance of taking someone's life away. Like the one of the main things that Shinji says is like, once you cross that line, you literally can never go back. Once you go past that, you can't come back. And I like that. I love that. Because it's real. I hate to say it, but it's realistic. It's down to earth. It's like, well, yeah, somebody who's never killed someone just being thrown into a position where you have to kill people. It's like, ugh. Shit, man. And I really like that. And, of course, the last theme that I noticed was, and this goes back to the fact of why I love Mirror so much, is that they all had more or less of like, because, you know, mirrors reflect yourself. But in this one, it's like, a lot of them kind of change in a way that a reflection would, where it's like, okay, I want something, but how much do I really want? Like, the main guy to talk about this with is Kitaoka. He wanted eternal life. That's what he wanted. But at the end, he's just like, I'm fine.
I just want to live my life.
I'm fine. I'm fine with this, dude. Like, I'm fine with dying. You know, I lived a good life, you know? I like that. I like that because it's literally a mirror opposite of what he was like. He was just a complete selfish douchebag who didn't want anything to do with anybody. And at the end, it's like, hey, man, you know what? I lived a good life. Whatever.
Let me say this. When it comes to his immortality, I'm betting you if he had one and he got the immortality, down the line he would have basically said, now I'm just wishing for death. Because I've seen everybody around me, and the world's changed, and everybody around me that I knew is dead.
I mean, that's just kind of implied, I
me?
think. Because I think that's more or less implied. Because, I mean, even with Goro, he's like, you know, he's like, Goro's really the only one he shows real emotion with. Because I mean, sure, he hides it from everybody else, but with Goro, he doesn't mind being like human with them, and I like that. And the same thing goes with Shinji. At first, he didn't want anything, and well, towards the end, he's like, no, I want to save Yui. That's what I want, and I like that. I like that thing where it's like, just like a mirror, it forces you to see yourself.
And it's not out of like, oh, I'm in love with her, or or anything like that. It's more,
she's my friend.
He just wants to do it. Exactly.
Why would I want to kill my friend? I want my friend to be alive.
Exactly.
I love that shit. I legitimately like that idea of, towards the end, they become basically a mirror of who they are. And again, maybe this really is just me looking way too deep into it, but they were so sprinkled across in the way that I watched this show that I'm like, I think Kobayashi and Inoue were a little smarter than they expected with this. A little bit smarter than they wanted to be. But, as they say, time for our final thoughts. So, Phil, go first. Go for final thoughts, Phil. Come on, Phil.
All right. All right. Well, did I, with this being my second time watching Ryuki in 4 years, I'll say this: it was actually flawed. I enjoyed some of it. I didn't really enjoy parts of it. It had things that kept me going. And episode final, I really need to rethink now because oh my god, I think it's only a few things I really like about it, but the suits are great. Some of the characters top notch. Other characters, That's it.
Well then,
Fair enough.
Jay.
I personally really, really enjoyed this show. I think the movie kind of sucked and should just not have been made, but I really liked the themes. I fucking love Highlander, so I like the hero on hero thing.
This isn't Highlander.
Dude, it's so good. Anyways, so honestly, it's weird because you can tell kind of early on that this really wasn't meant to be like a writer show. Like you can tell because there's elements that like this is so very different to everything before because you have like this is the first one where they really had like the gimmicky stuff with the cards and everything, and you had the monster beasts, they had stuff like that. And from what I remember reading, no, it was not meant to be a Kamen Rider show, but
Oh, really?
yeah, if I remember correctly, this was supposed to be a Metal Heroes show, 8 years after Metal Heroes was dead and buried thanks to fucking Kabutak, and, good riddance, press S to spit.
I would have loved that to be a Metal Heroes series. Actually, it would have worked as a Metal Heroes series. Oh my god, all the suits actually look like something out of a Metal Heroes series.
Exactly. So, I really liked the themes. I really loved the entire cast. Even, like, the shitty, like, no-name writers. I like Scissors because he's an interesting concept, even though he's so little screen time they barely explore it. Like, I like that idea where he's just like he's a cop so he can just so he can kill people basically. Like that's kind of a fucked up way for a villain. I wish they kind of did more with that. I really like the plot. Again, there's my overall feeling of the show is that it's missing something. There is something missing from the show that I can't put my name on, but it's almost great. It's almost amazing, but there's just so something missing that keeps it from being at a higher level than it is. And I really enjoyed it, and I really liked it. It's really worth watching, but there's just something missing from the show from keeping it from being just that much better. Which is not to say what it is bad. It's great. I really love it. I can as much as we knock the Butcher, I can see why he ripped off the show so many times because it's just that good. And that's basically it. Is that like it's missing something from keeping it from being better than what it is.
I understand, yeah. How do I even... Well... So... Thinking back on this whole thing, and thinking back on the show, thinking back on its themes, thinking back on pretty much everything, it, like Jay said, it's missing something for it to be amazing. Beautiful, in fact. But I think what it lacks in that, it doesn't make up for. I'm not going to say that. But it gets elevated a little bit by its themes. This is one of the only writer shows that we've ever watched that I actually had to think for a second. Where I'm like, that does make a lot of sense now that I think about it. And it's not like this whole thing of like, overly thinking about it. These themes are very obviously in the show. They're very obviously there. It's not like some fan wanker on fucking YouTube who reviews Power Rangers and Rosa Fedora for a living, overly thinking about stuff. Sorry. Anyways, did I say something? Anyways, but like,
no.
So it's not thinking that deep into it to where you're basically grasping at straws. It's more seeing what they sprinkled in. And again, we make fun of Inoue. We all do. Jay and I, we do it all the time. But for everything we make fun of him for, he's obviously a very smart guy. He obviously does things with a purpose, and nothing he does is by accident unless it's Kiva. So,
No, exactly.
well, no, actually, the Zio episode, the Kiva episode that he did for Zio is very much by accident. So, like, he does things with a purpose, a lot. And everything that he does here, and with Kobayashi as well, don't forget her. She did a very good job with this show. I think both of them made a very good team. And again, like Jay said, it's missing something to make it that great. Like, if it had that one little thing, and even I don't know what it is. I'll be honest, I don't know what it is. Somebody out there probably does. If it just had that one little thing, this might be up there with Blade for me. Might. But because of that, I'd give it an A. I'd give it an A minus. A minus. Maybe B plus on a bad day. That sounds fair. That sounds fair. Yeah.
That's pretty fair, yeah.
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
What's not fair though? The wheel.
No, it's not.
Oh.
The wheel isn't fair, motherfucker. So let's read the wheel.
I hate the wheel so much.
Don't say that, Phil. I can hear you.
Phil, have we learned nothing?
Don't, Phil, don't.
Have it.
He can hear you, Phil. Oh God, I hit myself.
Well, it's not just the wheel. It's also the deadlines we have.
Oh my God, it's staring at me, Phil. It hurt you. Okay, so let me see here.
Is it giving you the night evil eyes?
It is actually.
Yes.
I could just put those eyes over the wheel and it would fit.
Do it. Yeah, do it.
And it's spinning and it's spinning and it's spinning and it goes.
Big bucks. No, wait. Stop! Damn it! My mic
hold
fell.
on, I need to check something here.
Oh no, never a good sign.
Oh,
I need to check
no.
who's.
This better not. This better not be a long one because I don't have the time for a long one.
Well, I can tell you right now. Wait. How long is this?
What? Oh no.
Oh no, my finger slipped. Oh no.
Oh no! What was it?
I'm only gonna give it one more chance, boy. Don't worry about it. Oh. Hold on, I need to check how long this is. Also, whoever put this in the wheel, you can go fuck yourself.
Oh no!
It's probably Rabbit.
Okay, so it's 32 episodes? Okay.
That's usually a good sign.
That's not terrible, but can we find it?
I can't believe we're watching an American series this time.
Oh no!
No! Tell me it's not what. Oh no! I'm calling out of this one. No!
Oh.
So, everybody, congratulations. You're about to watch this.
People.
We're going back to Power Rangers with Operation Overdrive. You could go fuck yourselves. I hate you all. RPM. This is RPM. This is Overdrive. Oh God.
Of all the Power Rangers series, we had to watch the worst one. And it's not Mega.
You know what? Maybe it'll be better than we remembered.
I didn't watch it, and again, I went off of Winkara's opinion.
Of course
Maybe
you
it
did.
might be better. I don't know.
That's your fault.
I was a simpleton, okay? I was a fucking idiot. Shut up!
I like
Shut
that.
up, you.
Good one. So, it's 32 episodes. I'm pretty sure I can just shoot myself before it ends. So next week we are going, as I just said, we're going to Power Rangers. First time we've done this in a long time. I think the last time we did this was Jungle Fury, but nobody remembers that
2
episode.
years? Yeah. Well, we did it with DJ of Trader. Well, you guys did.
We're probably
going to
have to redo that one, in all honesty. So, Operation Overdrive. I fucking hate this.
Okay, I gotta ask this. how are we going to watch these if they're leaving Netflix in a month?
Just fucking pirate them.
I'm not pirating anything.
Bitch.
Wait, Phil, how long does it say? Do they have it till Netflix goes?
I think
Tomorrow.
The 14th. Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, Phil, you better get ready, motherfucker. Phil, I can just send you.
Yeah,
I can just send you a link to where I watch him.
Yeah, I have work. Okay, I have.
Also, Phil, what
I
the
got big
fuck
boy
you talking
things.
about? Fucking, I don't like pirating. Did you not just watch Ryuki? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sit down. You're good.
But that's a fan sub.
As if that makes it better.
Shut
Phil,
up!
just put your fucking eye patch on and get the peg leg on. All right, we're going in. We're going in.
But I don't want to put the leg on.
I don't want to be a pirate.
I'm not doing this one. I'm not doing this one.
Are you really gonna let Jay suffer all by himself? Look at him. Look at him over there. How are you gonna do that to him?
Jay, I'm sorry. I'm getting the gun. You're suffering on your own.
Well, I always knew you'd be the first one to take the pill. Anyways, so yeah, so yeah.
Wait, is he taking the blue pill or the red pill?
Cyanide pill. What the fuck did you
the
post?
blue pill.
Into despair.
So yeah, so as we said 3 times, next week Operation Overdrive. It's 32 episodes. Half of those probably don't matter. God help me.
Most of them don't matter.
Wait, what did he post? Wish you.
I can't believe the first time we're going back to Power Rangers is this fucking shit.
I can't believe
Why?
the first fucking show we do after our break is fucking Operation Overdrive.
Like, we did Ultraman Z, and that was fun. Then we did Ryuki, which was fun. And now back into the doldrums.
Wait,
Phil, this is your fault.
Don't after this. Don't you guys have Kira Mager that you need?
Shut
to
up.
binge?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And on February, Phil's solo review of Kira Mager.
Oh no! I am dragging you two in by anchor. I am dragging you two in, screaming and crying. I don't care. You're doing this with me. You are doing this with me.
Anyways,
Hey, Dr. Claw.
so as we said, so next week, back into hell we go. We'll see you guys next week. I'm AJ. That's Phil.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
Phil, nobody finds that attractive.
Oh, you don't know that.
How many? You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. And that's Jay.
I wish you were all dead.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.